Chapter 496. Lost a 2 versus 1 battle. Can you even play? _1 Ling Zixiao sat cross-legged on the bed. After taking the frost elixir, strands of cold air emanated and flowed around her body. Lu Chongqing quietly observed the effects of the frost elixir on Ling Zixiao. After a long time he came to a conclusion. There were effects, but indeed they were quite average. Compared to the time and cost spent, it was truly disappointing. Unless there is a third rank elixir, or some rare cold attribute elixir medicines. Otherwise, wanting to regulate and nourish the body and heal the withered meridians in Dantian is too difficult. Lu Chongqing sighed softly in his heart. However, he had not given up. Once Ling Zixiao finished assimilating the elixir, he passed on the tender embrace technique, a dual cultivation technique, to her. This technique belonged to the higher tier of dual cultivation techniques. Both the male and female participants would benefit. It would definitely help in Ling Zixiao's recovery. Ling Zixiao saw that Lu Chongqing had taken out another secret dual cultivation technique and didn't quite know what to say. She wondered if Lu Chongqing had obtained some kind of romantic inheritance. Why were all his techniques related to dual cultivation? However, she did not ask much more. Under Lu Chongqing's guidance, she quickly understood the technique. Straight away, the two began their cultivation. Afterward, Lu Lang, I can't do this anymore. Just once, and Ling Zixiao's face turned crimson, like a puddle of mud, nestling in Lu Chongqing's embrace. On the one hand, the effort of the tender embrace technique was rather intense. On the other hand, her current physical condition was truly very bad. After her Dragon Roar origin source was depleted and she suffered from the backlash of the Dragon Roar physique, her body was extremely weak. If said that before, she still counted as a foundation establishment cultivator, and could exert a 10th or 20th of her mana. Then now, her strength wasn't even comparable to some energy refinement late-stage cultivators. It's alright, take it slow. Lu Chongqing's palms were gentle and soft, his soothing voice comforting the beauty. He knew that healing was not something to be rushed. Lu Lang, in a few more days, you will be going back. How do you plan to arrange for the sisters at Treasure Elixir Pavilion? Ling Zixiao snuggled in Lu Chongqing's arms, whispering. My encounters with them were fleeting. What plans could I possibly have? Lu Chongqing felt puzzled upon hearing this. Ha! My lord, didn't you go to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion with the intention of taking the Li sisters under your wing? I see that both sisters are quite pretty, especially the elder sister, who's not only extremely beautiful but also a high-quality alchemist. With your tutelage and guidance, Lu Lang, I reckon it won't be an issue for her to become a second-rank alchemist in the future. Ling Zixiao drew circles on Lu Chongqing's chest with her slender jade fingers, smiling as she spoke. Although through the days they spent together, her perception of Lu Chongqing had changed, she still believed that Lu Chongqing's choice to settle in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion was because he fancied the Li sisters. What nonsense are you speaking? Am I the kind of man to take in every woman I see? I just saw that the two girls had it hard, and as it happened, I lent them a hand. Lu Chongqing was somewhat speechless. He had a good impression of the two sisters, but he only regarded them as juniors. Besides, who would consider taking home anyone they meet to have children? Although he had thought about it when he first saw Li Xingrua, it was just a fleeting thought. Yes, indeed. I also find the sisters pitiable, orphaned and with no one to rely on. If they could be taken in by you, Lu Lang, they would then have someone to rely on. Ling Zixiao's skin was rosy and delicate, and she said with a half-smile. It seems you are getting spirited again. When he heard this, Lu Chongqing immediately pressed her beneath him. No, my lord, have mercy. Ling Zixiao's call turned into a startled cry, her luscious voice beginning to falter, soon becoming intermittent and indistinct. 3 days later. Master Yi, you've been a great help. That day, Lu Chongqing and Li Xingrua came to the 100 Arts Hall in Immortal City for their assessment registration. There weren't many people. After all, the number of second-rank artisans in the entire Immortal City was limited. Furthermore, not every second-rank artisan would become the featured attraction of a particular shop and come to participate in the assessment registration. Is this Master Yi Fan? As soon as Lu Chongqing and Li Xingrua entered the alchemy hall, someone recognized him and greeted him politely. This is the owner of Little Dan Tower, a second-rank lower-tier alchemist. Li Xingrua introduced the man to Lu Chongqing via telepathic message. Indeed, it's Yi. A pleasure to meet you. Lu Chongqing did not know the person, but you don't slap a smiling face. Seeing that the other party was so polite, he naturally returned the greeting with courtesy. During the process, several more alchemists and elixir shop owners came to chat and greet Lu Chongqing, expressing interest in having tea together and sharing their understanding of alchemy. After all, in the span of 3 months, Lu Chongqing had earned a modest reputation in Immortal City. Not only could he refine second-rank superior elixir medicines, but most of the elixirs he refined were of fine and supreme quality. This was quite astonishing. Lu Chongqing responded courteously to all of them, and afterward, he indicated that he would go into seclusion for cultivation after some time. If they knew any second-rank alchemists, they could introduce him or her to come to Treasure Elixir Pavilion to become a featured alchemist. Upon hearing this, several alchemists mentioned that they had friends who might inquire on behalf of Lu Chongqing. Indeed, this is the benefit of having a skill. You won't starve anywhere. If the skill is notable and reaches second rank, you can make a living anywhere. After chatting with these people for a while, Lu Chongqing thought to himself. Between the previous visits from the Li family and the current enthusiastic networking, he deeply realized the benefits that come with having a perfected skill. Master Yi, thank you very much. Li Xingrua, who was beside him, was moved by the scene and thanked Lu Chongqing. Chapter 497. Lost a 2 versus 1 battle. Can you even play? She knew that Lu Chongqing was about to leave and was recruiting an alchemist to preside over his store. Since her parents passed away, no one had ever been so kind to her. It made her feel intensely grateful and moved. Hee, it's a trifle. Lu Chongqing chuckled, waving his hand dismissively. At that moment, the alchemy assessment began. The assessment was straightforward. It involved concocting a furnace of second-rank elixir medicines. Lu Chongqing concocted a furnace of middle-grade true essence elixirs and easily passed the assessment. Afterward, he registered his identity information with Treasure Elixir Pavilion, completing the process. When verifying his identity information, his disguise provided by the Misty Sky bead went undetected. This made Lu Chongqing silently note that with the Misty Sky bead, he could not continue conducting assessments on behalf of others. Xingrua, I will be leaving Jiuxiao Immortal City in a couple of days. So I won't be going back to Treasure Elixir Pavilion now. Please convey my farewell to Xingyu later. After leaving 100 Arts Hall, Lu Chongqing directly said this to Li Xingrua. Parting was the most poignant. Lu Chongqing was already not a person given to melancholy feelings. But it was obvious that both Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu were. Since the matter with Treasure Elixir Pavilion was resolved, he planned to leave it at that and not go back. Senior Yi. Hearing this, Li Xingruo's heart instantly filled with discomfort. During the months they had spent together, she had felt a sense of long-lost paternal love and care from Lu Chongqing. Now, hearing about Lu Changsheng's impending departure, she felt extremely reluctant to part. However, Lu Chongqing had mentioned long ago that he would leave Jiuxiao Immortal City. Had it not been for the matters concerning her family's Treasure Elixir Pavilion, he might have left earlier. She pursed her lips lightly and raised her head to look at Lu Chongqing, forcing a cheerful smile as she said, Xingrua wishes Senior Yi a smooth journey and may all be well with you. We'll meet again someday. Lu Chongqing looked at her eyes which were slightly reddened and sighed softly. Knowing that it was unlikely they would meet again. He thought for a moment and then said, in the future, we can correspond through letters. I've heard that the major commercial guilds can relay things to each other. If I need to purchase certain items in the future, I might trouble you, Xingrua. And if you have any doubts about alchemy, you can also write to me. Although it might take a long time for letters to arrive, perhaps by the time I reply, you will have already resolved your doubts. Lu Chongqing spoke in a gentle manner. He gave Li Xingrua an address from Red Leaf Valley Market, a shop that sells peace charms. Senior Yi, if you have any needs, feel free to send me a letter any time. Li Xingrua nodded upon hearing this. The steadfast clarity in her eyes was obscured by the sentimentalism of the moment. All right. Lu Chongqing gave a light smile and then strode away. 2 days later. Is there any information on the decisive battle between Xianjian True Monarch, Heavenly Corpse Sect Master, and 5 poisons cult leader? Lu Chongqing arrived at Heaven Knowledge Tower and asked aloud. There is. The intelligence report is divided into 2 grades, Grade A and Grade B, priced at 3,000 1,000 spirit stones respectively. The person in black replied. Grade A. Lu Chongqing stated directly. He took out 3,000 spirit stones. With this jade slip, you only need to pay 50% of the spirit stones for subsequent related updates. The person in black accepted the spirit stones and handed over a purple jade slip to Lu Chongqing. Understood. Lu Chongqing took the jade slip and nodded. Immediately, he delved into the jade slip with his divine sense to read the contents. Shenjian True Monarch fought against 2 alone, repelling both the 5 poisons cult leader and the Heavenly Corpse sect master. When Lu Chongqing saw the message, his spirit was lifted, and a great weight fell from his heart. He knew that the battle had likely averted a war between Jiang country and Jin kingdom. Shenjian True Monarch Li Duanshuan, a middle-stage nascent soul cultivator, practices the Heavenly Sword sect-defining cultivation method, the Heavenly Sword True Scripture. In a 2-against-1 situation, not only did he repel the Heavenly Corpse sect master and the 5 poisons cult leader, but he also nearly slew the 5 poisons cult leader. Had it not been for the 5 poisons cult leader conceding defeat and the supreme elder of the Yiming Ghost sect intervening with the sect's treasures, the Myriad Ghosts Blood Pool, and Myriad Ghosts Dao Soldier, Li Duanshuan had the chance to slay a nascent soul true monarch. Lu Chongqing was looking at the intelligence report within the jade slip. He felt some admiration for this nascent soul true monarch of Jiang country. No wonder Yun Jianfeng, a golden core true person from the Heavenly Sword sect, had arrived in Zhouxiao Immortal City to exterminate demon cultivators at such a time. It was because Li Duanshuan was confident of victory in this battle. No need for too many to stand by his side. This battle may have prevented a war between Jiang country and Jin kingdom from breaking out, but I suspect there will still be undercurrents, and it won't be peaceful. Lu Chongqing thought to himself. He felt that things couldn't possibly end so easily. After I return this time, I must accelerate my progress and enhance my strength. Whether it's childbirth or the children's growth, I need to pay close attention to both aspects. Otherwise, if a war between countries erupts and my strength isn't sufficient, I won't be able to protect my wives and children. This turn of events instilled an involuntary sense of urgency in Lu Chongqing. Back in the Qi refinement realm, he had a sense of urgency too. He was eager to reach foundation establishment so that he could have the power to protect himself and settle in the cultivation world. That's why he had been recklessly having children, hoping to improve his strength through his children and the system lottery. But after establishing his foundation, he had unavoidably relaxed quite a bit. Having the power to protect himself, he felt that there was no rush in everything. After all, he had enough lifespan, not lacking time, aiming for success in the long run. But this demon path event served as a wake-up call for him. Besides considering his immediate surroundings, he needed to take the bigger picture into account. If the Jiang country cultivation realm remained stable, his current strength would be sufficient in the Qingyun region. As long as he didn't act recklessly, he would generally be safe. Chapter 498. Lost a 2 versus 1 battle. Can you even play? But when a stable environment is disrupted, and matters escalate to a confrontation between nations, mere foundation establishment is insignificant. Even without escalating to war between nations. Just the Qingyun sect's call to arms for the major families to campaign against the Xiahou clan. In the process, many foundation establishment ancestors fell. If it were a war between nations, one can only imagine. Take, for instance, the Demon Path incident at the Zhouxiao Immortal City. Before the war even began, 3 nascent soul immortals had perished. The path of cultivation is long and arduous. Lu Chongqing stepped out of Heaven Knowledge Tower, exhaling deeply. He felt that if the Jiang country cultivation realm were to fall into chaos, he would inevitably be swept up in the overwhelming current of fate. This time, Qingyun sect's mobilization of the major families to campaign against the Xiahou family results in numerous deaths among foundation establishment ancestors. Upon my return, revealing my foundation establishment cultivation could present an opportunity to acquire a spiritual land. Lu Chongqing paused, a sudden thought occurring to him. Previously, his plan involved using Xiao Xie's connections to participate in the 100 Arts Conference and enter Qingyun's sect, thus securing a spiritual vein-blessed land. But now, in the war where Qing Yun's sect campaigned against the Xiahou clan, many Foundation establishment ancestors from various families perished. If some of these families were like Qingzhou Mountain with only one Foundation establishment ancestor holding the fort, they might be facing a familial crisis. They had no choice but to perform a desperate act, like cutting off an arm to save the body, by giving up their spiritual land. Otherwise, they would only attract disaster unnecessarily. And he could take advantage of this situation to choose a suitable spirit vein for himself. After all, with Ling Zixiao, the array master, at his side, the only thing his family lacked now was a spiritual land. If he continued to rely on the approach through Xiao Xie, it would probably take several more years. It's time to return. Lu Chongqing let out a sigh and put away the intelligence jade slip. He was ready to call on Ling Zixiao and depart straight for Qingzhou Mountain. He arrived at the rented courtyard. HM? Where is she? Lu Chongqing, finding Ling Zixiao was not in the courtyard, was somewhat surprised. 2 days ago, Ling Zixiao's formation shop had been sold. In a place like Zhouxiao Immortal City, saying that a shop was hard to come by was no exaggeration. Therefore, the transfer and sale of the shop attracted countless families and powers vying to buy it. And Ling Zixiao's rationale for selling the shop was straightforward. She didn't have much time left and was no longer struggling against it, planning to use her remaining time to travel and see if she could find an opportunity. Not many would doubt such a story. Because for these 3 years, due to being an array master with the dragon roar physique, Ling Zixiao held no small fame in Zhouxiao Immortal City. Many knew that this array master's life was nearing its end. He took out a sensing talisman to check Ling Zixiao's whereabouts. Treasure Elixir Pavilion? Lu Chongqing, through the yin-yang sensing talisman, sensed Ling Zixiao was in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. This left him somewhat astonished. Why would Ling Zixiao be in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion? He thought for a moment and headed towards the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. However, before he could get there, Ling Zixiao, dressed in a blue gown with a graceful demeanor and elegant temperament, had already come over. He sensed Ling Zixiao's situation through the yin-yang sensing talisman. Similarly, Ling Zixiao's yin-yang sensing talisman could sense his location. Lu Lang, do you intend to leave now? Ling Zixiao looked towards Lu Chongqing and asked. Previously, Lu Chongqing had told her that as soon as the information about Li Duangshuan's decisive battle was out from Heaven Knowledge Tower, he was ready to leave Zhouxiao Immortal City. Yes. Do you need to prepare anything else? Lu Chongqing nodded. This servant is already prepared and can leave at any time. Ling Zixiao said with a slight smile. All right, then let's set off. Lu Chongqing nodded. Immediately after, the two of them left Zhouxiao Immortal City, commanding the spirit boat as they flew towards Qingzhou Mountain. Chapter 499. 99 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. _1. Zixiao. Did you have any business at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion earlier? Aboard the spirit boat, Lu Chongqing asked Ling Zixiao. I saw that Lord Husband had quite a fateful encounter with the 2 young ladies. Considering that we are now departing, and the sisters will be left alone and helpless in Immortal City, it's quite pitiable, so I introduced them to a few good friends to get acquainted. That way, they can seek help if anything arises in the future. Ling Zixiao spoke with an elegant demeanor, her voice gentle and warm. With a light smile and a trace of teasing, she said, I noticed that the 2 young ladies seemed quite reluctant to part with Lu Lang, probably harboring quite a bit of affection. If Lu Lang is willing, a simple invitation may be all it takes for them to wish to depart with you. Ling Zixiao's lips curled with a hint of teasing. It was but a passing acquaintance, and their attachment to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion is quite evident. So why make them leave Zhouxiao Immortal City and accompany me to such an insignificant place? Lu Chongqing shook his head and said softly. Just as Ling Zixiao had said, if he were to invite Li Xingrua and her sister to come with him, they would certainly give it serious thought. But after considering, he chose not to do so. For one thing, extending an invitation didn't necessarily guarantee acceptance. After all, his relationship with the sisters hadn't reached such a deep level yet. And the sisters obviously had deep feelings for the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, which wouldn't be easy to cut off. Otherwise, they could have simply sold or transferred the shop during their difficult times and chosen to leave. With Li Xingruo's talent in alchemy, relying on the wealth left by her parents, She would obviously fare better without sticking to the treasure elixir pavilion. On the other hand, he also had to consider on what grounds he would invite them back with him. If the two agreed, how would he settle them? As concubines? As alchemy service workers? As guest elders? Thus, Lu Chongqing thought it over and decided against it. After all, his fundamental principle was that if he brought someone home with him, he should fulfill a certain duty and responsibility. He currently had a lot to attend to. For the time being, he didn't want to allocate too much of his time and energy to this matter. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao merely smiled faintly and said no more. She looked at the surrounding scenery nonchalantly and asked, "Where in Qingyun region does Lu Lang reside?" "Qingzhou Mountain. According to the distance of our journey, it will probably take 4 or 5 months to arrive," Lu Chongqing said aloud. On his way back, he certainly couldn't rush the entire journey. He would need to stop and rest along the way and alleviate the dragon roar of yang energy from Ling Zixiao. "Qingzhou Mountain," Ling Zixiao repeated, nodding thoughtfully as she heard this. She had previously purchased information about Lu Chongqing from Heaven Knowledge Tower. She knew that Lu Chongqing came from the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. However, the situation she had come to understand through interacting with Lu Chongqing did not match what Heaven Knowledge Tower had on record about him. "I've had some fortunate encounters, so I tend to hide my abilities in Qingzhou Mountain. On this trip back, I will need you, Zixiao, to keep some of my affairs a secret." Lu Chongqing spoke, not hiding any information and sharing some details about himself. In front of Ling Zixiao, he had revealed his second-tier top-level alchemy skills. Although he was prepared to show his alchemy skills upon returning to Qingzhou Mountain, he couldn't possibly reveal everything at once. It required a systematic and gradual process. "Please rest assured, Lord Husband," Ling Zixiao responded after hearing this, her face showcasing an elegant, gentle smile. She knew the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower was not incorrect. It was just that Lu Chongqing had been concealing his skills deeply. This made her inwardly marvel at the extent of his concealment. According to the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower, Lu Chongqing was not yet 40. At that age, not only had he broken through to foundation establishment, he had also elevated both alchemy and talisman making to the second rank. This was astonishing. She, with her innate talent for the formation path and under the tutelage of a master, was able to reach her current level. Yet, according to the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower, Lu Chongqing had been rejected during an immortal sex assessment at Qingyun sect and had become a son-in-law taken into the Lu family. This indicated that Lu Chongqing's spiritual root talent must be rather ordinary. And as a son-in-law taken into the Lu family, even if he was exceptionally talented in the talisman path and alchemy, without a prominent teacher's guidance, it would be very difficult to achieve such accomplishments. Besides, managing to succeed in talisman crafting, alchemy, and cultivation simultaneously was extraordinary. Without contemplating too deeply on this matter, she continued to chat leisurely with Lu Chongqing. Talking about her own experiences and past helped foster an emotional bond between them. After they had been casually talking for a long time, Lu Chongqing's brows suddenly furrowed. "Lu Lang, what's wrong?" Ling Zixiao asked, noticing the change in his expression. "It seems that we have been targeted since leaving Immortal City," said Lu Chongqing, his brows relaxing into a wry smile. Thanks to the Purple Mansion elixir, his divine sense had already progressed to the late foundation establishment stage. Just now, he had sensed a breath of aura moving swiftly in their direction, yet maintaining a certain distance from his spirit boat. Having experienced several robber cultivator incidents in the past, Lu Chongqing immediately surmised that the person was probably targeting him and Ling Zixiao, thinking of attacking once they were a certain distance away from Immortal City. Targeted. Ling Zixiao briefly paused, surprised at his remark. Although her physical condition was extremely weak due to the dragon roar physique, and she had only 1/10 of her mana, her divine sense was unimpaired. Moreover, having cultivated a divine consciousness technique and taken special elixirs for this aspect, her divine sense was much stronger than her peers, comparable to that of someone at the middle stage of foundation establishment. Yet she hadn't noticed any pursuit. However, since Lu Chongqing had mentioned it, she naturally didn't doubt him. After all, having sold her shop and leaving Zhouxiao Immortal City, it made sense if someone was covertly watching her, perhaps intending to kill for loot. Chapter 500. the 99 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. Right away, Ling Zixiao pulled out a set of formation tools from her storage bag and said, Lu Lang, the celestial canopy formation can conceal one's shape and isolate the breath, so that even a foundation establishment cultivator would find it difficult to detect. You should increase the distance now, find a place to land, and we can use formations to hide. Ling Zixiao quickly instructed. As an array master, she naturally had her means. She had prepared several sets of formation tools for self-defense. All right. Upon hearing this, Lu Chongqing nodded. He controlled the nucleus of the spirit boat, increasing its speed to the fastest, leaving a trail of light across the sky. With more than 300 second-rank spirit talismans, he had no fear of this kind of ambush. But he was currently accompanied by Ling Zixiao. Although Ling Zixiao was a foundation establishment cultivator, due to her physical weakness, she was even less capable than an average qi refinement peak cultivator. So, his plan was to let Ling Zixiao use formations to hide and protect herself. As for himself, since these people dared to pursue them, he naturally wouldn't be polite. This trip to Zhouxiao Immortal City had cost him quite a lot of spirit stones. After returning to Qingzhou Mountain, purchasing spirit land would be no small expenditure either. Now that people were offering their wealth on a silver platter, he naturally would not hold back. It wasn't long before the spirit boat landed on a mountain peak. Zixiao, after you set up the formation, set up a defensive array for yourself as well, said Lu Chongqing as he put away the spirit boat. Lu Lang, are you planning to? Hearing such words and seeing the calm and indifferent expression on Lu Chongqing's face, Ling Zixiao immediately sensed his intention and asked. Yes, since they want to play the role of robber cultivators, they must be prepared to pay the price, replied Lu Chongqing with a light laugh and an indifferent expression. Ling Zixiao confirmed it, feeling surprised in her heart. She had been in Zhouxiao Immortal City for so long and experienced many things. She knew very well that those who dared to act as robber cultivators were often not simple in strength, especially those who lurked in the shadows and continuously pursued their quarry. They generally had great confidence. After all, robber cultivators sought wealth through their actions, and if they weren't certain, they wouldn't take the risk. But the fact that Lu Chongqing dared to confront them head-on upon realizing that robber cultivators were tracking them in secret, intending to eliminate them, was simply astonishing. Although she didn't know the specifics of Lu Chongqing's strength, she assumed he was at most in the middle stage of foundation establishment. One reason was his age, and the other was that Lu Chongqing had revealed the cultivation level of the foundation establishment middle stage in front of her. But considering that Lu Chongqing was aware of being tracked and dared to act this way, Ling Zixiao did not try to dissuade him further. She nodded and said, Since you are confident, Lu Lang, I will first set up a small inverted 5 elements formation to ensure my safety. Later, I will also deploy a small Azura killing formation. You can lead them into the array when the time comes, Ling Zixiao added quickly. In the meantime, a set of formation tools appeared. She moved her hands in a magical gesture, raising a number of array flags into the air and letting them fly out. Then she took out several spirit stones and activated the array plate, setting up the formation not too far away. Zixiao, be careful not to hurt yourself. I'm confident and don't need to do this, Lu Chongqing said. He could see that Ling Zixiao wanted to contribute, to prevent him from losing, but in his opinion, unless the robber cultivators pursuing them were nascent soul immortals, he was almost certain of victory without the need for formations. However, if they were nascent soul immortals, they wouldn't be detected by him at all. Therefore, these robber cultivators were at most at the foundation establishment level. My lord, I understand, replied Ling Zixiao with a faint smile on her somewhat pale face upon hearing Lu Chongqing's words. Her hands continued to move in the magical gesture, quickly setting up a simplified version of the inverted 5 elements formation. The layout of a formation can be simplified based on the number of flagpoles, reducing the area it covers. With limited time, Ling Zixiao simply used the formation to protect herself, so it was rather basic, covering only a 9-yard radius. After setting up the inverted 5 elements formation, Ling Zixiao entered the area of the formation. She manipulated the array plate, causing herself and the formation to disappear from Lu Chongqing's sight. So this is the simplified inverted 5 elements formation? It is indeed extraordinary, Lu Chongqing murmured as he watched Ling Zixiao vanish. Had he not watched Ling Zixiao disappear in front of him, and his divine sense been as sharp as that of a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator, he might have struggled to detect Ling Zixiao's presence. Moreover, The inverted 5 elements formation also had a confusing effect. Even if he detected Ling Zixio's breath, it might not necessarily indicate her actual position. When I establish my family, I will use a complete version of the inverted 5 elements formation for the interior and a different set of formations for the exterior, Lu Chongqing thought to himself. Shortly after, he saw movement within the formation. A number of small flags flew out, landing at some distance away. He knew Ling Zixiao was setting up another killing array. Zixiao, they are about to arrive, Lu Chongqing said as he sensed the presence of someone approaching from afar. That's just perfect, Ling Zixiao replied immediately through sound transmission. She moved the array plate to solidify the small Azura killing formation in the distance. Due to the limited time, this small Azura killing formation only covered a 9-yard radius, effectively serving as a small-scale trap. Lu Lang, be careful. If you can't overcome them, draw the enemy into the killing array. My inverted 5 elements formation can also share some of the pressure, Ling Zixiao communicated through sound transmission. Don't worry, Lu Chongqing assured, looking up slightly at the distant sky. Before long, a small flying boat appeared from afar. 5. Lu Chongqing raised his eyebrows when he saw 5 figures standing on the flying boat. He had previously sensed only 4 presences and thought there were only 4 people. Seeing the number of people on the flying boat, he realized one had concealed their presence, eluding his detection. Chapter 501. The 99 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. 3 at the Foundation Establishment early stage, 1 at the middle stage, and 1 at the late stage? Lu Changsheng's divine sense examined the cultivation levels of the 5 people. Except for one of them whose cultivation aura was hidden, making it impossible for him to determine. For the other 4, he discerned their cultivation strength at a glance. 5 Foundation Establishment Robber Cultivators? Ling Zixiao, within the inverted 5 elements formation, was startled when she saw the spirit boat appear in the firmament with figures aboard. She didn't dare to use her divine sense to investigate these people. But without thinking, she knew that those daring to be robber cultivators and pursuing her and Lu Chongqing must certainly be at the Foundation Establishment cultivation level. Could it be that fellow Taoists are looking for Yi? Lu Chongqing, draped in a blue robe with his hands clasped behind his back, spoke calmly to the firmament. Fellow Taoist, greetings. Our group is here to find Master Ling for some business matters to discuss with her. May I ask where Master Ling is? The luminescence of the spirit boat flashed, crossing a large distance to hang above the mountaintop. The one leading them, whose cultivation strength Lu Chongqing couldn't discern, was a middle-aged man with a purple face exuding a natural aura of authority. He looked towards Lu Chongqing, then his divine sense searched in all directions, trying to locate Ling Zixiao. Through tracking methods, he could vaguely sense that Ling Zixio's aura was in this vicinity. Oh, there are matters to discuss with Master Ling. Lu Chongqing raised an eyebrow upon hearing this. He suspected that they might have harbored ill intentions towards Ling Zixiao due to her selling her shop and leaving Zhouxiao Immortal City. Although Ling Zixiao typically spent most of what she had on preserving her own life, as an array master, the wealth she had accumulated was still a huge sum for an average Foundation Establishment cultivator. Moreover, she had sold all her possessions like shops and courtyards. Master Ling had some matters to attend to and has parted ways with me. Whatever business fellow Taoists have, you can tell me. Lu Chongqing spoke with equanimity. However, before he could finish speaking, he waved his hands. From within his sleeves, hundreds of talismans streamed out, arranging themselves in mid-air, and swiftly surrounded the 5 people on the spirit boat. Under normal circumstances, he would not need to resort to a talisman formation. But since there were not only 5 of them but also a likely Foundation Establishment late-stage cultivator among them, Lu Chongqing did not hold back, thinking to use the talisman formation for a quick resolution. So many talismans, be careful. Is this a talisman formation? Who exactly are you? Fellow Taoist, there's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. We really did come to find Master Ling for business. Seeing this display of talismans, they were all shocked and shouted. They could clearly feel that among these hundreds of talismans, there were dozens exuding the aura of second rank. Without a word, dozens of second-rank spirit talismans and hundreds of first-rank spirit talismans were summoned. This was not something they could withstand with mere wealth. Moreover, the The talismans arranged by Lu Chongqing seemed like a legendary talisman formation. Thus, faced with such a formation, they instantly abandoned any thoughts of robbery. The 9-9 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. Lu Chongqing paid no heed to the words of the five. His mind moved. 1 second rank Supreme Talisman, 9 second rank Superior Grade Talismans, 18 second rank Middle Grade Talismans, and 36 second rank Low Grade Talismans, plus 108 first rank Middle, Superior, and Supreme Grade Talismans were activated altogether. These talismans, connected by their aura, aided by the 5 elements of wind and fire, and accompanied by rolling thunder, arranged in all directions, obscuring a part of the sky, enshrouding the 5 people on the spirit boat. Break for me! Upon the spirit boat, a middle-aged man in his 30s or 40s with a gaunt face immediately took out a pair of spiritual artifact scissors, attempting to break through the heavy encirclement of the talisman formation before it could fully activate its power. However, the moment the talisman formation was complete, fierce winds blew, fiery flames surged, thunder rumbled mightily, and directly the spiritual artifact scissors let out a mournful cry. Kill! Lu Chongqing formed seals with his hands, directly driving the great formation, causing the spiritual mechanisms of these talismans to surge and begin bombarding. Not good, second brother, third brother, fifth brother. The leading purple-faced man also recognized the might of this talisman formation. Making hand seals, spiritual light swelled around him, forming a layer of mana shield, while also summoning a thick black column. The black column flickered with a dim light, connected to the spirit boat, forming a vigorous shield of aura. Upon hearing his voice, the other 3 people on the spirit boat also took action, each summoning their magic artifacts. But under the assault of the Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array, the purple-faced man's shield of aura cracked in an instant, threatening to shatter. The purple-faced man hurriedly shouted, "Fellow Taoist has misunderstood. I am here to find Master Ling for a true matter of business." Heh. Lu Changsheng's lips curled upwards, letting out a cold laugh. Ling Zixiao was not far away. If he knew these people, he would have already sent a message to himself. This person obviously thought that Ling Zixiao was not here and wanted to use such words to confuse him. He had a clear understanding in his heart, and with his hands forming seals, he exerted himself to the fullest to operate the Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. Using the first-grade talisman's wind and fire to boost the power, he unleashed the extreme potency of the second-rank talisman's thunder and fire. Boom boom boom, the true might of the talisman array began to erupt, with thunderous flames surging violently, bombarding fiercely, and in a flash, the shield of aura around the black column was shattered. However, the other 4 people had already summoned a red parasol and a small blue flag, forming protective barriers layer by layer to block the torrential assault of the talisman array. Yet, faced with such an attack from the talisman array, they struggled to defend. Scoundrel, this is too much. The purple-faced man's expression turned to rage, and he ground his teeth, pulling out a talisman from his storage bag. This talisman was more substantial and slightly larger than a regular one. In the next moment, a lifelike bronze spear surged on the talisman, emitting a terrifying aura that made Foundation establishment cultivators shudder in fear. A talisman treasure? Lu Chongqing immediately recognized upon seeing the talisman that it was indeed a talisman treasure. It was only befitting for a cultivator at the peak of the Foundation establishment stage to actually possess such a talisman treasure for protection. Moreover, the treasure seemed to be of a superior grade, not any worse than the golden light brick talisman treasure he had initially. The adversary, with his late-stage Foundation establishment cultivation fully activating the talisman treasure, was about to unleash its astonishing power. Boom! In an instant, the talisman treasure was activated, transforming into a bronze spear that tore through a corner of the Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array, aiming to strike at Lu Chongqing. He knew that if he allowed the talisman array to continue bombarding them, the 5 of them could only sit and wait for death. He must suppress Lu Chongqing with the swiftness of thunder. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, from the sleeves of Lu Chongqing, dozens of talismans flew out immediately. Several of them transformed into golden and blue shields of aura, enveloping him for protection. The rest, neatly arranged, flew into the Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array, repairing the gaps and allowing the formidable power to continue its tumultuous assault. At the same time, a blue talisman appeared in Lu Changsheng's hand. It was a talisman treasure he had once acquired from Meng Yibai. Though this talisman treasure was lower grade and had average power, it could be used for offense, defense, and capturing enemies, making it quite effective. The next moment, the blue talisman treasure was activated by his mana. It transformed into a several-inch-long, water-shimmering blue jade ruler. The jade ruler burst forth with dazzling light in the sky, doubling once, then again, and once more, multiplying into numerous rulers, striking across at the bronze spear. Nevertheless, under the onslaught of the bronze spear, the jade rulers kept shattering. Boom, boom, boom. Meanwhile, the 5 people within the array, amidst the bombarding chaos, were evidently struggling to hold on. The red parasol and the blue flag were scorched black under the relentless assault of the wind-fire thunder, causing Lu Chongqing to wince at the sight. After all, that was money. Burst. Seeing that the few were continuously summoning magic artifacts, talismans, and treasures to resist the talisman array, Lu Chongqing promptly formed seals with his hands and uttered an indifferent syllable to detonate the array. As the syllable fell, in that very moment, all the talisman's energies merged together, emanating an extremely violent mana fluctuation. And then, boom! An explosive storm of thunderous fire erupted like a mushroom cloud in the sky, and an earth-shattering blast thundered forth. Chapter 502. Ling Xixiu's Shock, Bountiful Gains. Under one, boom, boom, boom. A mushroom cloud-like tempest of thunder and lightning continuously exploded, its might echoing through heaven and earth, forming ripples that swept in all directions. In an instant, the temperature of the sky drastically increased, filled with a scorching and fierce magic aura. The entire mountaintop also shook under this terrifying force, fissures appearing everywhere, scaring the flying birds and running beasts into a state of trembling fear. Not far away, the inverted 5 elements formation became visible under the residual wave of the attack. It transformed into a barrier of 5 elements luminance, blocking the successive waves of residual force. Within the formation, Ling Zixiao with her elegant appearance, gazed at the shocking scene before her, lips slightly parted, eyes filled with shock and disbelief. She knew that since Lu Chongqing dared to face a robber cultivator, he must have had some confidence. But she had never imagined that Lu Changsheng's combat power would be so terrifying. He had conjured up hundreds of talismans to form a talisman formation and, with the ferocity of thunder, had suppressed and killed 5 robber cultivators. In the process, the robber cultivators tried to break the formation and kill Lu Chongqing with their talisman treasures. But they were easily neutralized by Lu Chongqing with his talismans and talisman treasures. This level of combat power, these methods were simply astonishing. Especially Lu Changsheng's technique of creating formations with talismans left Ling Zixiao at a loss for words. She also had some understanding of talisman formations and standing formations with talismans. She knew that this kind of technique was from a rare inheritance, and that the threshold for cultivation was extremely high. One had to be versed in both the talisman path and the formation path. Lu Chongqing had just conjured up hundreds of talismans, instantly forming a formation, clearly mastering this talisman formation to perfection and proficient in the formation path. Second rank top quality alchemy. Second rank top quality talisman making. And now, another skill in talisman formations and formation path. How can one person simultaneously master alchemy, talisman making, and formation path? Ling Zixiao stared at the tall and slender figure of Lu Chongqing in a green robe, lost in thought. Alchemy, talisman making, and formation path all required immense amounts of time and energy. Countless cultivators spend their entire lives without achieving anything significant. Yet Lu Chongqing had accomplishments in all 3 areas at his age. An extraordinary feat indeed. She had spent many years in Jiuxiao Immortal City and had never seen such a monstrous and abnormal person. No, she had not even heard of one. Through the days they had spent together, she thought she had gained some understanding of Lu Chongqing. But at this moment, Lu Changsheng's image in her mind became mysterious once more. It seems the power of this talisman formation is even greater than I had imagined. Once I gain the initiative and set up the talisman formation, not to mention those at the late stage of foundation establishment, even a false core immortal would perish within it. Still, trying to trap a false core immortal with this talisman formation might be a little tricky. However, once I refine the 99 profound truth strategy into a talisman artifact, with its help in setting up formations and sealing heaven and earth, even a false core immortal won't be able to break the talisman formation easily and will only perish amidst the relentless bombardment of the talismans. On the cliff, Lu Chongqing looked at the talisman formation in the sky, whose power was gradually dissipating, and saw that the 5 robber cultivators within had their life force extinguished, revealing a look of satisfaction in his eyes. This was his first time using a talisman formation. As for the power and effectiveness of the talisman formation, he was quite satisfied. The only issue was that it was incredibly expensive. He had only taken simple action. He had used over 80 second-rank talismans and more than 100 first-grade talismans. If these talismans were to be converted into spirit stones according to the market price, they would amount to approximately 40 to 50,000 spirit stones. An exaggerated sum indeed. Hope it nets me some profit. Lu Chongqing exhaled lightly. With a gesture of his magic hand, he took the 2 talisman treasures in front of him, the spirit boat that had been battered and become scrap within the talisman formation, along with 5 charred and broken corpses, magic artifacts, spiritual artifacts and storage bags, all into his possession. He then looked towards Ling Zixiao not far away and called out, "Zixiao, are you all right?" While speaking, he swept his sleeve to subdue the remaining waves of the talisman formation. Lu Lang, I'm fine." Ling Zixiao came back to her senses, watching Lu Changsheng's peerlessly handsome face, and gently shook her head. She couldn't fathom how there could be such a wondrous man in the world. With dazzling good looks that captivated the heart at a glance, and in other aspects, he was excellent beyond comprehension. "Zixiao, as you know, I am also a talisman master, and I understand a little about making talismans. So I usually prepare some talismans to carry with me, in case of any dangerous accidents." Lu Chongqing saw the usually composed and graceful Ling Zixiao looking so astonished and smiled. He had used the talisman formation to make a quick decision. On one hand, among the 5, the leader was at the late stage of foundation establishment. If he didn't use the talisman formation, facing all 5 at once would have been difficult to secure a complete kill. On the other hand, he also wanted to show off a bit in front of Ling Zixiao. It wasn't to show off per se. It was simply to tell Ling Zixiao through this action that he wasn't as simple as she had seen, that he was much more powerful than she imagined. By following him, aside from treating and resolving the dragon roar physique, there would be other benefits as well. My lady understands, of course, though I didn't expect that you, my lord, would have such divine abilities. I was worried for a moment. Ling Zixiao's expression returned to being dignified and elegant, and she spoke with a light smile. I gained this talisman formation inheritance by chance. With your high perception and proficiency in the art of formations, Zixiao, you might also be able to comprehend it. If you're interested, I can teach you afterward, Lu Chongqing said with a light laugh. He didn't mind passing on his cultivation techniques to those around him. Ling Zixiao was now his Dao companion, and they were in a partnership. If her strength increased, it would also be beneficial to him. Chapter 503. Ling Zixiao's Shock, Bountiful Gains. Moreover, the talisman formation involves the art of formations. Although this type of formation is different from ordinary ones, there might still be benefits for Ling Zixiao, possibly inspiring new insights. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao's heart jolted. She had not anticipated that Lu Chongqing would casually offer to teach her such a rare mystical inheritance. One must realize that, in the cultivation world, the transmission of cultivation techniques and skills is exceedingly precious. They are fundamental for the survival of an individual or a power. Apart from those who are extremely close, it is rare for anyone to pass on their cultivation techniques and skills to another. Yet Lu Chongqing was now offering so readily, which touched her deeply. Her lips parted slightly, her eyes moist with emotion, she smiled and said with a curtsy, "Your concubine is most grateful to you, Lu Lang. If we are to be Dao companions, we should naturally support each other and cultivate the great Dao together." Lu Chongqing immediately steadied Ling Zixiao, his expression earnest as he spoke. "The path to immortality is cold and solitary, the great Dao hard to seek. With you by my side, I am fortunate." Ling Zixiao responded with a smile. "Zixiao, pack up the formations and let's continue on our way." Lu Chongqing said with a smile, squeezing Ling Zixiao's hand gently, speaking in a warm tone. "All right, husband, just a moment." Ling Zixiao nodded, formed a gesture with her hands, and successively withdrew the inverted 5 elements formation and the minor azure slaughter formation. "Let's go." Seeing Ling Zixiao tidy up the formations, Lu Chongqing released the spirit boat, and along with Ling Zixiao, they continued on their journey. During the journey, It crossed his mind that the 5 robber cultivators probably targeted Ling Zixiao, so he used his divine sense to inspect her. However, he did not find any traces of divine sense marking. Immediately afterward, he took out a second-rank top-grade purification talisman and used it on Ling Zixiao. But even when the purification talisman was applied to Ling Zixiao's body, it did not reveal any tracking marks. Strange? Could it be they were using some kind of secret technique to track her? Lu Changsheng's brow lifted as he pondered inwardly. He was puzzled as to how these 5 robber cultivators had managed to locate and track Ling Zixiao. Lu Lang. Seeing Lu Changsheng conducting these inspections and finding no clues on how she was tracked, Ling Zixiao immediately started to examine her own storage bag. She checked to see if any item, or perhaps a spirit stone, had been secretly marked by someone. It might have been some secret technique, and now that they are dead, naturally there's nothing to worry about. Lu Changsheng spoke out. He had some understanding of these tracking methods, knowing that aside from divine sense marking, there were many other secret techniques to track people. It was plausible for those 5 individuals, being Foundation establishment cultivators, to know such techniques. Shortly after, he took out the spoils of war gathered from the 5 people. He passed 3 storage magic artifacts to Ling Zixiao, asking her to help clear them out. Lu Changsheng first took the bronze spear charm held by the man with the purple face into his hands to inspect. It was apparent that this charm had dulled, likely having been used a few times already. He estimated that after one more full-force usage, it would be completely exhausted. Zixiao, this charm is quite powerful. You can keep it for self-defense. Lu Changsheng handed the bronze spear charm to Ling Zixiao. He currently had sufficient means of attack. The charm was of little significance to him. Thank you, Lu Lang. But I have a defense charm. I don't need this one. Ling Zixiao was touched to see Lu Changsheng casually offering this valuable charm to her. All right. If you see anything you can use in the storage bag, just take it without hesitation. Lu Changsheng did not insist upon hearing this and returned the charm to his storage bag, planning to give it to Lu Miaoge when he returned. The blue jade ruler was a charm taken from Meng Yi Bai, which could bring trouble, so it wasn't something he wanted to give away. However, the bronze spear charm was of no concern. Okay. Ling Zixiao nodded with a smile, graceful and dignified. What's this, a treasure-seeking mouse? Lu Changsheng began to go through the spoils of war, his divine sense noticing a spiritual pet bag, causing his brow to lift. He had an idea of how the 5 robber cultivators had managed to track down Ling Zixiao. Inside this spiritual pet bag was a large golden mouse. It somewhat resembled the earth spirit mouse he had acquired from Meng Yi Bai. Back then, Meng Yi Bai had used the earth spirit mouse to track him down. He hadn't expected to come across another treasure-seeking mouse today. This is not an earth-grade bloodline earth spirit mouse. It must be a high-rank bloodline-seeking spirit mouse. Lu Changsheng examined the golden treasure-seeking mouse in the spiritual pet bag. Because of the earth spirit mouse, he had taken the time to learn about a few differences between various treasure-seeking mice. He could roughly identify them. However, this seeking spirit mouse was quite large, almost the size of a newborn baby, a second-rank demon beast. Lu Changsheng found this most pleasing. Not counting the Mount Sumeru Tree King, he had yet to acquire a second-rank spiritual pet, Zixiao. This group of robber cultivators probably tracked you with this thing. Lu Changsheng found the beast control token for the treasure-seeking mouse, then released it from the spiritual pet bag. Is this a treasure-seeking mouse? Ling Zixiao examined the infant-sized golden mouse before her. Indeed, it's likely a second-rank seeking spirit mouse. Lu Changsheng confirmed. Second-rank seeking spirit mouse. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao's elegant brows furrowed, her face reflecting some contemplation. What's wrong? Lu Changsheng asked, noticing her expression. I remember in Jiuxiao Immortal City, there was a Foundation establishment cultivator by the name of Purple-Robed Wanderer who possessed a second-rank seeking spirit mouse. He's quite knowledgeable about the history of the cultivation world and owns a second-rank seeking spirit mouse, so he often seeks out mysterious places and invites others to explore ancient ruins with him. Because he rarely betrays his companions, he has gained some reputation in the Immortal City. Ling Zixiao explained. A second-rank seeking spirit mouse isn't extremely rare, but it's certainly not common. Chapter 504. Ling Zixiu's Shock, Bountiful Gains. It's often said that you can know someone's face but not their heart. Who knows, this person could very well be that purple-robed hermit. Lu Chongqing casually remarked upon hearing this. It wasn't that he harbored ill intentions. Having been in the cultivation world for so long, he had become all too familiar with such matters. After all, no robber cultivator would go around looking like a fierce and malevolent spirit all the time. It's possible they even cultivate a good reputation and goodwill to facilitate their clandestine robber cultivator activities. It's very possible because, although this purple-robed hermit is seldom known for betraying his companions, his frequent exploration of secret realms has still led to many cultivators facing dangers. Yet, every time he manages to return from the brink of disaster, even making modest gains that others envy, Ling Zixiu added with a slight smile. The two chatted idly while sorting through the storage bags. After a while, they had accounted for the belongings of the 5 robber cultivators, including their storage bags and magic artifacts. Among them were 219 middle-grade spirit stones and 48,375 lower-grade spirit stones. 1 top-tier spiritual artifact, 2 high-tier spiritual artifacts, 2 middle-grade spiritual artifacts, 5 low-tier spiritual artifacts, and 7 top-tier magic artifacts. However, half of these spiritual and magic artifacts had sustained severe damage. The most precious top-tier spiritual artifact was also somewhat damaged, which meant its value would be greatly reduced if sold. Aside from that, there were over 20 bottles of second-rank spirit pills, 16 second-rank spirit talismans, and dozens of other second-rank spiritual medicines, spiritual woods, or stones, and other treasures, as well as 3 cultivation techniques. Purple True Solar Scripture. Looks like this chap is indeed the purple-robed true immortal, Ling Zixiu declared, spotting the exquisite level cultivation method among the 3 techniques. She guessed that the purple-faced man leading the robber cultivators was most likely the purple-robed hermit. However, if this man is really a robber cultivator, to have amassed only this much wealth after lurking in Jiuxiao Immortal City for so many years, he's quite poor, Lu Chongqing clicked his tongue and said. It's actually not a small amount. These spirit stones, spiritual artifacts and spiritual materials, plus the talisman treasures and the seeking spirit mouse, it all adds up to almost 170,000 to 180,000 spirit stones. Ling Zixiu replied, unsure whether to comment on Lu Chongqing's wealth or to say something else. After all, for most foundation establishment cultivators, their entire net worth would be around 20 or 30,000 spirit stones. The spoils from these 5 robber cultivators, even after accounting for the damaged spiritual artifacts, amounted to a considerable wealth of 170,000 to 180,000 spirit stones. That's true, Lu Chongqing nodded slightly. He felt he had indeed been too lavish with his spending. His idea of consumption had far surpassed that of the foundation establishment stage. Moreover, he hadn't included the bronze spear and the seeking spirit mouse in his tally of gains earlier. Considering the men had only that many spirit stones, he thought their wealth quite ordinary. After all, he had just spent 40 to 50,000 spirit stones on a talisman formation. With these spirit stones, I should have almost enough money to purchase a spiritual land when I get back, Lu Chongqing mused, feeling somewhat relieved. After allowing Ling Zixiu to pick a few items, he carefully sorted the categorized spoils into his own storage bag. 7 days into their journey, as night fell, Lu Chongqing spotted a secular city in the distance. He immediately directed the spirit boat towards the city, taking Ling Zixiu with him to rest and refine the dragon roar of yang energy within her body. Meanwhile, at the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain, under the cover of night, Lu Yuanzhong and Lu Yuanding donned black robes and quietly left Qingzhou Mountain without a sound. Only after traveling several dozen miles away from Qingzhou Mountain did they release their spirit boat. They flew rapidly toward Qingyun's sect on their spirit boat. Though Qingyun's sect had forbidden interclan strife during this period, such matters would remain unchecked as long as they were not overly excessive. Therefore, their trip to Qingyun's sect to exchange for Foundation Establishment elixirs and Foundation Establishment spirit objects had to be conducted with utmost caution. This was to avoid internal leaks within the family, which could alert others and lead to attacks on Qingzhou Mountain or interception of the 2 men. Chapter 505. Tai Shengshui Ju. Ownership of the Foundation Establishment Elixir. _1 more than a month later. Amidst the clouds and fog, A spirit boat, like a streak of light, rapidly shuttled through the sky. Lu Chongqing, dressed in a cyan robe, stood tall on the spirit boat, looking down at the mountain ranges below that resembled a checkerboard. It must be said, such long-distance travel was extremely monotonous and tedious. If it weren't for Qing Yun's sect's spiritual vessel that only came once a year, he would be eager to return and would not be willing to steer the spirit boat. He would have chosen to travel by the spiritual vessel instead. "My lord, let me take over the steering of the spirit boat while you rest for a while," said Ling Zixiao, who had been resting with her eyes closed, as she opened her clear and beautiful eyes and looked at Lu Chongqing, her voice melodious. Although steering the spirit boat didn't consume much mental spirit or mana, traveling day and night could still be somewhat tiresome and dull. Thus, the two of them chatted to relieve boredom and took turns steering the spirit boat along the way. "All right." Lu Chongqing nodded, handing over the control of the spirit boat to Ling Zixiao. During this break, he would draw some talismans. Facing 5 robber cultivators before, he had used up quite a few of his spirit talismans and needed to replenish them. Just as he took out his talisman brush, talisman paper, and spirit ink, ready to start drawing talismans, a current of air suddenly surged into his body, followed by the sound of a system notification. "Congratulations to the host. 15 of your children have completed the induction of qi into their bodies, stepping onto the path of immortality, obtaining the bloodline effect. 5% increased probability of having spiritual roots in offspring, and 1 lottery draw opportunity." 1 lottery draw for every 5, huh? Lu Chongqing heard this system notification and the corners of his mouth turned up slightly, revealing a hint of a smile. Seeing his children start their cultivation one by one, with the system handing out child money as a reward, truly delighted him. "Lu Lang, what's the matter? Are you thinking of some happy event?" Ling Zixiao noticed the sudden smile on Lu Changsheng's face and asked with a light smile. "Hee, the thought of going home naturally fills me with joy. Especially since this journey has also led to you, Zixiao, becoming my Dao companion. The very thought makes me uncontrollably happy." Lu Chongqing spoke smoothly, hiding his real emotions with a smile. Smooth talker. Upon hearing his words, Ling Zixiao smiled sweetly. After a bit of idle chat, Lu Chongqing began to draw talismans. 5 days later, Ling Zixiao steered the spirit boat to a nearby city where they disembarked. She and Lu Chongqing found an inn to rest and regulated the yang qi within their bodies. Afterward. Zixiao, how is the recovery of your dragon roar origin coming along? Lu Chongqing, embracing Ling Zixiao, whose skin was glowing attractively with a touch of rosiness and lethargy, asked her. "At this rate, I should need about half a year more before the dragon roar origin can recover." Ling Zixiao, her exquisite hair casually sprawled, snuggled into Lu Changsheng's arms, bit her lip gently and spoke. "Half a year," Lu Chongqing heard this and nodded, saying, "Good. Once we get back to Qingzhou Mountain and your body is almost done recovering, we can start the second phase of addressing the dragon roar physique. This way, we'll eventually be able to resolve your dragon roar physique." Lu Chongqing said so. "Lu Lang, you always use your vital essence and lifespan to stabilize the backlash for me, which also greatly harms you, doesn't it?" Ling Zixiao looked at him with eyes full of tender affection. "It's no bother. As long as it can resolve your condition, Zixiao, it's all worth it. Besides, I've said before that I would do everything in my power to resolve your dragon roar physique." Lu Chongqing embraced his beloved and placed his chin on her hair, speaking softly. "My lord." Ling Zixiao heard this, her eyes glistening. Although she didn't know how much of his lifespan Lu Chongqing had spent to save her before, she knew it must have been at a great cost. Yet, even under such circumstances, Lu Chongqing maintained this attitude, which genuinely moved her. After all, aside from the dragon roar origin, she had not contributed much to Lu Chongqing during this period. It was basically Lu Chongqing making sacrifices for her. "It's nothing. We are Dao companions after all." Lu Chongqing caressed her smooth and delicate back with his palm, speaking gently. But in his heart, he pondered how he could resolve Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique. Otherwise, even if the dragon invocation technique could replenish the dragon roar origin faster than the physique recovered, his lifespan wouldn't be able to withstand it if this continued time after time. Looking at the contented and gradually sleeping face of the woman in his arms, Lu Chongqing thought of the lottery opportunity he had earned earlier and silently invoked in his heart, "System, draw the lottery." Immediately, a light red-colored lottery wheel appeared. I wonder if he'll be lucky enough to draw an item that can suppress the backlash from the dragon roar physique. Lu Chongqing looked at the lottery wheel before him, squeezing the full and round peak, thinking to himself. With a mere thought, a streak of golden light appeared, spinning rapidly on the wheel. Ding! Congratulations to the host for acquiring the cultivation technique, Tai Shengshui Ju. The reward has been sent to the system space. The host can check it at any time. An image of a crystal-clear jade scroll appeared, together with the system notification. Tai Shengshui Ju? Lu Chongqing looked at this cultivation technique, his brow slightly furrowed. From its name, this should be a qi refinement cultivation technique. But at this point, he was no longer in need of such techniques. He had no need for this kind of cultivation technique. What he really wanted was a mental cultivation technique. Or something like the rare inheritance cultivation techniques for pills, formations, talismans, and tools, such as the 99 mystical talisman scripture. However, since he had already drawn it, Lu Chongqing looked towards the system space. Cultivation technique, Tai Shengshui Ju. Grade. Orthodox level. Description. Tai generates water that benefits all things, complements Tai as it forms heaven. Heaven and earth, yin and yang complement each other, in an endless cycle. This is the mother of all things. This technique is so profound? Lu Chongqing stared at the description and introduction of the Tai Shengshui Ju, momentarily bemused. He couldn't quite grasp the effects of this technique, or the significance of it being an orthodox level cultivation technique. Chapter 506. Tai Shengshui Ju. Ownership of the Foundation Establishment Elixir. System. Inheritance. He didn't ponder too much about it, his mental spirit stirring slightly as he directly used the Tai Shengshui Ju. Immediately, the method of cultivating the Tai Shengshui Ju, related content, and all key points surged into his mind like a sudden enlightenment. Tai Shengshui Ju. What a profound Tai Shengshui Ju. After a long while, Lu Chongqing opened his eyes, revealing a look of surprise and joy. After fully comprehending the Tai Shengshui Ju through the system's inheritance, Lu Chongqing felt a surge of delight in his heart. One could only say it was truly worthy of being an orthodox-level cultivation technique. Furthermore, this cultivation technique came in a most marvelous way. This Tai Shengshui Ju is divided into Water of Virtue technique and Tai Seed Way art. One main and one auxiliary, two cultivation techniques. To cultivate the Water of Virtue technique, one first needs a water attribute spiritual root, and a temperament as calm as water. Secondly, a foundation establishment cultivator is required to cultivate the Tai Seed Way art. Condense one's spirit, vital energy, and origin source of the Tao foundation to refine a Tai Tao seed. Afterward, plant this Tai Tao seed within oneself, and with the Tai Tao seed as the foundation, commence the cultivation of the Water of Virtue technique. Goodness resembles water. It benefits all things without contention. This cultivation technique is not adept at offensive strikes but leans towards a supportive nature. Its mana is gentle, its qi mighty and profound, vast and thick, stretching endlessly. However, based on the Tai Tao seed condensed by the seed path cultivator, the mana will exhibit different characteristics and effects in terms of power. Simply put, the more powerful the seed path cultivator, the deeper the foundation, the more formidable the condensed Tai Tao seed, the more mighty this Water of Virtue technique will be. However, the flaw is that if the cultivator of the Tai Seed Way art dies, then the Tai Tao seed will shatter. From that point on, the cultivator of the Water of Virtue technique will find it difficult to make progress and will have to start over from scratch. If it were just this, the Tai Shengshui Ju wouldn't have caused Lu Chongqing such surprise. The Tai Seed Way art, by condensing the Tai Tao seed, can aid another in cultivating the Water of Virtue technique. It can enhance their mana foundation and increase the likelihood of breaking through bottlenecks. At the same time, the Water of Virtue technique can also support the person who cultivates the Tai Seed Way art. For example, when a cultivator of the Water of Virtue technique breaks through the foundation establishment, their Tao foundation will take on similar characteristics to the Tai Tao seed. From then on, when both individuals concurrently operate their cultivation techniques in a yin-yang dual cultivation, they can nurture the mother essence of all things. This mother essence can temper both individuals' Tao foundations, increasing the likelihood and quality of core formation. Moreover, when the cultivator of the Tai seed Wei art breaks through core formation, they can reclaim the Tai Dao seed, transforming it into a top-tier core formation spiritual object, enhancing the likelihood and quality of core formation. After the cultivator of the Tai seed Wei art successfully breaks through core formation, they can once again plant a Dao seed for the cultivator of the Water of Virtue technique, letting their foundation improve again, in turn increasing the likelihood and quality of future core formation. When the cultivator of the Water of Virtue technique successfully breaks through core formation, the golden core will continue to be influenced by the Tai Dao seed, taking on similar characteristics, thereby mutually enhancing the golden cores, refining them, and raising the probability of nascent soul consolidation and the quality of the nascent soul. After the nascent soul, so it goes even with divinity transformation. It can be said that this Tai Sheng Shui Ju is designed for two people to cultivate together, assisting each other along the way and jointly pursuing the great Tao. Sister Miaoga is just a 5th grade spiritual root. Even though she cultivated the Saturn Solar Sword technique, with my assistance, foundation establishment is not a problem. But to achieve core formation, it is difficult, extremely difficult, filled with countless obstacles. Now with this Tai Sheng Shui Ju, if I cultivate the Tai seed Wei art, and plant a Tai Dao seed for her, allowing her to cultivate the Water of Virtue technique, then there's hope for her to achieve core formation in the future. Upon seeing this cultivation technique, Lu Chongqing immediately thought of Lu Miaoga. This cultivation technique, with one main and one auxiliary, complements each other, and is a true yin-yang dual cultivation technique. It can allow the more advanced practitioner to lift the other, thus joining hands in cultivating the great Tao. With the system by his side, he is full of hope for his own future. He is confident that he can achieve core formation, consolidate a nascent soul, and undergo divinity transformation. Currently, his condensed yin-yang 5 elements foundation base is a top-notch perfect foundation base, with an immensely robust foundation. Such a foundation base, when used to refine the Tai Dao seed, will greatly benefit and be extremely advantageous for the cultivator of the Water of Virtue technique. In the future, as he progresses further and breaks through core formation, he is confident he can condense the most supreme immortal golden core. At that time, by planting a new Tai Dao seed for Lu Miaoga, her chances of breaking through foundation establishment to core formation will be significantly increased. Once he achieves nascent soul, it's not impossible for Lu Miaoga to have hopes of consolidating a nascent soul. Moreover, this Water of Virtue technique, like the 7 Luminaries' Great Freedom Sword scripture, each level possesses its own unique effect. The characteristic of the first level is to use mana to condense Tai True Water. This water has the effects of refining the body, nourishing the meridians, healing hidden injuries, and condensing mana. This made Lu Chongqing immediately think of Ling Zixiao. If Lu Miaoga can cultivate the Water of Virtue technique, she could use Tai True Water to treat Ling Zixiao's injuries, rejuvenating his withered meridians and dantian. As long as Ling Zixiao's meridians and dantian are restored, dealing with his dragon roar physique will be much easier for me. There's no need to worry about the backlash from the dragon roar physique. This is also one of the reasons for Lu Chengsheng's delight. This cultivation technique not only solves Lu Miaoga's future path, but it also holds the promise of resolving Ling Zixiao's physical issues. Once Lu Miaoga cultivates the Water of Virtue technique and breaks through to foundation establishment, and Ling Zixiao resolves his dragon roar physique and restores his foundation establishment cultivation, by then, his Lu family will have 3 foundation establishment cultivators in place. Moreover, both women have the potential to break through to core formation in the future. At this moment, Lu Chongqing was eager to return. Chapter 507. Tai Sheng Shui Ju. Ownership of the Foundation Establishment Elixir. Wanting to return early to pass on the Water of Virtue technique to Lu Miaoga and plant the Dao seed for her. Lu Miaoga's spiritual root just happens to be of the water attribute, and her disposition is also a good match. Moreover, she cultivates the Saturn Solar Sword technique, which is a direct inheritance from his 7 Luminaries' Great Freedom Sword scripture. Through the Tai Dao seed, to convert her cultivation technique into the Water of Virtue technique would be nothing short of perfect. Qingzhou Mountain. Lu family. Miaoga, currently in the family, only you and Miaofeng are at the 9th level energy refinement, capable of attempting foundation establishment. Thus, the The right to this foundation establishment elixir belongs to you and Miaofeng. What are your thoughts? Lu Yuanzhong looked at the young lady in front of him, clothed in plain white, with a clear and graceful demeanor, speaking in a deep voice. Lu Yuanding, standing aside, said nothing, quietly watching his daughter. There were originally 4 foundation establishment seeds in this generation of the Lu family. 1 died during the campaign against the Xiahou clan, leaving the remaining 3. However, one of them is too young and is currently at the 8th level energy refinement. Therefore, he cannot compete for the ownership of this foundation establishment elixir. In the end, it's between Lu Miaoge and Lu Miaofeng. Although Lu Miaoge's spiritual root talent is 1 grade lower than Lu Miaofeng, as a 1st grade top-level talisman master, she has the potential to be a 2nd grade talisman master in the future. Her husband, Lu Chongxing, is also a 2nd grade talisman master, having made significant contributions to the family. Therefore, wanting to fight for this foundation establishment elixir, it essentially already belongs to her. Elder, Miaofeng has a better talent than me, and moreover, the foundation establishment spirit objects prepared by the family this time are more suitable for Miaofeng. So, this foundation establishment elixir. Give it to Miaofeng, Lu Miaoge said quietly, after a long silence. She knew if she wished to contend for it, this foundation establishment elixir would most likely be hers. But now that the chance for foundation establishment she had always yearned for had appeared before her eyes, hesitation crept into her heart. Because this foundation establishment elixir is too weighty. It carries the future of the Lu family. Success is the only option. Failure is not tolerated. Moreover, once foundation establishment is achieved, she would become the new matriarch of the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain and would be responsible for the rise and fall of the family. If she had not married or had children, she would have had the courage to shoulder this responsibility. But now, as a wife and mother, this responsibility caused her to hesitate. Moreover, she understood in her heart that elder Lu Yuanzhong actually favored giving the foundation establishment elixir to Lu Miaofeng. Because Lu Miaofeng, with his 4th grade spiritual root, was a better match for the foundation establishment spirit objects prepared by the family, and as a male, he aligned more with the family's interests. It was only considering her contributions to the Lu family and the contributions made by Lu Chongsheng and Lu Yuanding that he was willing to give her the choice of the foundation establishment elixir. Sigh, seeing his daughter refuse the foundation establishment elixir, Lu Yuanding sighed in his heart. As a father, he naturally hoped his daughter would accept this foundation establishment elixir. He knew his daughter had always been working hard to become a foundation establishment cultivator. This foundation establishment elixir might be Lu Miaoge's only chance in her life, the closest she would ever get to foundation establishment. But as a clan cultivator, the former patriarch of the Lu family, for the sake of family interests and the bigger picture, he believed Lu Miaofeng indeed was more suitable for this foundation establishment elixir. Miaoge, have you thought it through? Lu Yuanzhong said to Lu Miaoge, speaking in a deep voice. For his niece whom he had watched grow up, he knew she was very sensible and had her heart set on the great Tao. So despite a preference for Lu Miaofeng, he was still willing to give Lu Miaoge a chance. Elder, Miaoge has made up her mind. Please give the foundation establishment elixir to Miaofeng. Lu Miaoge, looking at Lu Yuanzhong before her with clear eyes showing resolve, nodded her head. After saying this, although her heart felt empty, it also felt a sense of relief. Phew! Upon hearing this, Lu Yuanzhong sighed deeply. He patted Lu Miaoge's shoulder saying, Miaoge, your great-uncle knows that you have been sensible since childhood, and this arrangement has been unfair to you. After this matter, the family will do its best to collect foundation establishment spirit objects suitable for you, and also seek out a meridian-protecting elixir, Lu Yuanzhong said. Thank you, Elder, Lu Miaoge said, gently pursing her lips. It was only in the face of serious, important matters that such an expression would appear. My dear daughter, we are in danger now. Nangong merely chuckled lightly, displaying a feigned ease. In danger. Upon hearing this, Meng Xiaofan's heart sank, vaguely guessing what was going on. She spoke up, Master, have the sect hierarch and the Heavenly Corpse sect master been defeated? She and her master Nangong merely had come to Jiang country cultivation realm mainly to prepare for Jin Kingdom's invasion. On one hand, they were to contact and integrate the spies buried within Jiang country. On the other hand, they were to wait for the Five Poisons cult leader and Heavenly Corpse sect master to repel Shenzhen True Monarch Li Duanshuan. As soon as the Jin Kingdom's army invaded, they planned to disrupt the rear of Jiang Country cultivation realm in conjunction with the three great demon sects of Jin Kingdom. Yet now, 3 months had passed since they had been pursued and nearly killed by the Heavenly Sword sect. No one from the Five Poisons cult of Jin Kingdom had contacted them. No one had come to their rescue. Seeing the expression on her own master now led her to surmise that the Five Poisons cult leader and Heavenly Corpse sect master had likely been defeated by Shenzhen True Monarch Li Duanxuan. That's correct. According to the information, the sect hierarch and Heavenly Corpse sect master seem to have lost the battle. In light of that, Jiang Country cultivation realm is probably under a full lockdown right now, and it's going to be difficult for us to leave Jiang Country and return to Jin Kingdom. Furthermore, the people from Heavenly Sword sect must still be hunting us down. Nan Gong merely admitted without hiding anything, her voice soft and powerless. As she spoke, she tried to stand up. But because she was too weak, she stumbled halfway through. Master. Seeing this, Meng Xiaochan quickly reached out and embraced her master's perfect delicate body. Phew, after casting the sacrificial goo insect technique, with my current condition, it's going to take 3 to 5 years to recover from these side effects, Nan Gong merely said, shaking her head slightly. While speaking, she gazed at Meng Xiaochan, who wore a heavy expression, and wrapped her pale jade arms around her, hanging off her as if for support. Putting on a pitiful look that inspired sympathy, she said, "My good daughter, in the coming days, your mother can only rely on you to take care of her." Master. Meng Xiaochan never expected her master to still make jokes and tease her at such a time. Hee hee. Nan Gong Meili, tall and graceful, kissed Meng Xiaochan gently on her delicate and fair face. "Xiaochan, there's no use worrying now, given the way things are. It reminds me of the days when I, with my own master, your great-grandmother, faced a similar ordeal. But back then, I was even younger than you are now, having just broken through Foundation establishment." Nan Gong Meili's beautiful eyes filled with nostalgia as she spoke softly. She had taken Meng Xiaochan as her personal disciple and treated her so well, partly because Meng Xiaochan was her master's descendant. Another part was seeing her own past self in Meng Xiaochan. Remembering how she had been taught and cared for like a daughter by her own master. This made her develop a mischievous streak whenever she saw Meng Xiaochan, unable to resist teasing her. Chapter 509. Nan Gong Meili and Meng Xiaochan. Meng Xiaochan pursed her lips and said nothing. This was still the first time she had heard about these things. After all, she didn't know much about that late great-grandmother. "So, let's just settle down in this mountain range for the next 3 or 5 years until the heat dies down. Once your teacher recovers some mana, well, consider our next move," said Nan Gong Meili as she pinched her disciple's delicate cheek. "Yes, master," Meng Xiaochan replied. Moved by her master's words and actions, Meng Xiaocan's previously taught mental spirit finally eased a little. These past 3 months, she had been utterly wound up, terrified that the people from Heavenly Sword sect would discover their whereabouts. After all, with her strength, thinking she could escape pursuit while escorting Nan Gong Meili was nothing but wishful thinking. Although Nan Gong Meili was extremely weak now, at least she gave Meng Xiaochan a backbone and a sense of calm. Just then, buzz buzz buzz, a faint sound reached Meng Xiaocan's ears. Her exquisite face immediately took on a grave expression, and she gestured to her master. Then, with both hands forming seals, she concealed the entire cave's aura. Surviving in this mountain range for so long without being attacked by demon beasts or discovered by Heavenly Sword sect naturally involved her methods of hiding goo bugs in the surroundings. Any external disturbance would quickly alert her, allowing her to seal and isolate the cave's aura. Meanwhile, above the mountain range, a figure swept across the sky. There was definitely a whiff of demonic energy here just now. A stunning woman in her 30s muttered to herself. She wore a gray-white dress, her face was elegant, her skin was white as snow, her eyebrows were like green feathers, and her black hair was done up in a simple updo. As the breeze blew, her clothes fluttered, and she exuded a mature and sharp charm. Clang! Looking at the mountain range, the beautiful woman's hands formed seals, and a clear sound of sword cries emanated from within her. A blue magical sword flew out of her body. After spinning in the air and forming a sword flower, the sword erupted in a dazzling and blinding azure radiance. Then, the radiance surged as the magical sword seemed to merge with the world itself, making every wisp of air contain a trace of sword chi. After a long while, whoosh whoosh whoosh, streams of sword chi shot out, slaying several goo bugs. Goo bugs, these are demonic goo bugs, indicating that there are demonic path cultivators hiding here. The beautiful woman exclaimed as she snapped open her sharp eyes, scanning over the mountain peaks. Her river sword art had allowed the sword chi to blend into the natural world, detecting something amiss: a number of goo bugs in this area. Goo bugs were a very niche aspect of the cultivation arts. Very few people in Jiang country cultivated goo bugs. But one of the three major demonic sects in Jin Kingdom, the Five Poisons cult, was famous for using goo poison. Therefore, she immediately surmised that cultivators from the Five Poisons cult were hiding in these mountains. One of the three core formation fugitives is the heavenly spider envoy of the Five Poisons cult, Nangong Meili. This person's life-bound heavenly spider was slain by senior brother Tianjue, and earlier, under senior brother Tianju's pursuit, she used the life-burning secret technique to barely escape. So even if she is Nangong Meili, she is definitely no match for me. The woman thought to herself, her eyes as sharp as her sword. The next moment, the azure magical sword above her head violently slashed forward. A swath of sword light, immense like the rolling Milky Way, roared towards a mountain peak with tremendous force. Boom! Instantly, the entire mountain peak was leveled by this one strike. After flattening the peak and detecting no abnormalities, she continued to slash her sword towards another mountain. Boom! 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 One mountain peak after another was being leveled, causing the whole range to rumble as numerous birds, fierce beasts, and demon beasts trembled with fear at the disturbance. Master! In a certain cave, Meng Xiaochan, hearing such commotion, looked towards her own master. As soon as the goo bugs were killed, she immediately realized that someone from the Heavenly Sword sect must have arrived and noticed something was amiss. Previously, disciples of Heavenly Sword sect patrolled the area and passed by here, but none had taken notice of her. Meng Xiaochan surmised that it must have been an incidental leak of Nangong Meili's aura upon awakening that had alerted someone. After all, during such a tense time, it was common for the Heavenly Sword sect to cleanse the demonic path and craft some magic artifacts and treasures that could sense demonic energy. This is a third-rank top-tier teleportation talisman, Xiaochan. If you activate this talisman, you can escape from here, Nangong Meili said as she took out a talisman from her storage ring and handed it to Meng Xiaochan. Despite being weak and powerless, she could still muster a bit of mana. Master, I don't have the strength to fully activate a talisman of this level, and what about you? Meng Xiaochan asked with concern, looking at Nangong Meili. Of course, I will go with you. Do you really think I would abandon your master to escape alone? Boo-hoo. I never thought you would actually leave your master behind and flee on your own, boo-hoo. The moment Nangong Meili heard this, she immediately put on a pitiful expression, looking quite forlorn. Master, Meng Xiaochan said helplessly. At a time like this, her master was still acting like a drama queen. Silly girl, you just need to activate the teleportation talisman. Leave the rest to your master. Though afterward, your master will probably fall into unconsciousness again. When that happens, remember to seal your master's mana, or else once your master wakes up, there might be a leak of energy, and we could once again be detected by the people from Heavenly Sword sect, Nangong Meili instructed. She had a rough guess that the person from Heavenly Sword sect who hurried over likely did so because some treasure sensed her energy. Chapter 510. Nangong Meili and Meng Xiaochan. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence? As she spoke, her jade arms tightly wrapped around Meng Xiaocan's neck, draping her own enchanting body entirely over Meng Xiaochan. Master, I can't breathe like this. Meng Xiaochan was half a head shorter than Nangong Meili. At this moment, Nangong Meili's posture allowed two soft peaks to envelop her face directly within them. All right, stop dawdling, hurry up. Nangong Meili, finding her little disciple's appearance quite amusing, pushed out her full and rich chest and urged with a voice. Meng Xiaochan didn't dare to hesitate and immediately consumed mana to use the third-rank teleportation talisman. The next moment, atop the mountain range, a beautiful matron clad in gray and white clothing immediately felt a surge of mana fluctuation. Immediately, her magical sword slashed at the mountaintop in front. This slash was incredibly fierce and tyrannical, with the sword light resembling a vast blue river falling from the heavens, dimming the luminance of the entire world. Roar! The mountaintop directly collapsed under this slash, split into two halves. The beautiful matron immediately transformed into a rainbow of light and, looking at the cave inside the large mountain with a cold expression, knew she had just failed to capture the demon head the moment before he escaped from her eyesight. Just then, as if sensing something, she suddenly looked in another direction, her magical sword brewing with power, ready to slash again. "Senior, I just happened to pass by here." In the distance, a girl around 16 or 17 years old in black clothing clambered out from a pile of rocks, quickly raising her hand and shouted loudly. Although her eyes showed a hint of fear, her face was taut, and her eyes revealed unyielding determination. Fourth level energy refinement. The beautiful matron glanced at the girl in black, her brows slightly furrowed. She didn't know why the girl had appeared in these mountains. Although this mountain range wasn't exactly teeming with demon beasts, there were still quite a few roaming about. With the girl's strength, even a minor encounter with a powerful demon beast could be dangerous. Nevertheless, seeing the girl's situation, she realized she was caught up in the aftermath of her recent offensive. She instantly raised her hand, causing the surrounding rocks to disperse. "Little girl, these mountains are very dangerous for someone of your strength. I'll send you on your way." Lon Ruashua looked at the girl in black and said out loud, "Thank you, Senior. I was looking to cross these mountains to reach the Heavenly Sword Sect." The girl in black bowed in greeting. "Oh, the Heavenly Sword Sect? What are you going there for?" Lon Ruashua was somewhat surprised to hear this. The Heavenly Sword Sect is an immortal sect for sword cultivators. I am determined to become a great sword immortal, so I want to join the Heavenly Sword Sect. The girl in black pursed her lips and spoke earnestly, her eyes showing unwavering resolve. It is not easy to be accepted into the Heavenly Sword Sect. Lon Ruashua heard the girl's words, smiled and said, "Since fate has brought us together, and if you have talent in the sword Dao, I will take you to the Heavenly Sword Sect." "Thank you, Senior." Qin Yi immediately showed a look of excited joy upon hearing this. She had witnessed Lon Ruaksha's feat of leveling a mountaintop and shattering the large mountain, and knew that Lon Ruashua was a venerable expert. Hearing this, she guessed that the other party might well be an elder from the Heavenly Sword Sect. Lon Ruashua said nothing more, took a step forward, appeared in front of Qin Yi, held her wrist, and checked her spiritual root talent. A mountaintop that reached straight into the clouds. Atop this peak stood a misty spiritual pool surrounded by dense mist that obscured the view within the pool. It was neither morning nor night, yet thick mists shrouded the area around the pool. However, if a cultivator were to see this, they could tell that someone had set up a formation here, indicating that the spiritual pool was already occupied. Lu Lang. A beautiful woman with a graceful appearance and hair like a waterfall was soaking in the spiritual pool. Her tall, well-formed body with skin like jade was semi-concealed in the pool, causing ripples to spread across the surface. "Don't worry, if anyone comes, I'll notice them immediately, especially since you, Zi Xiao, have set up a formation." Lu Chongxing, holding a tender warmth, circulated the dragon invocation technique, arranging the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Zixio's body. However, no sooner had his words left his mouth, he suddenly felt something was amiss and abruptly looked up at the sky. Suddenly the void rippled, and two figures fell plop into the spiritual pool from the sky. Chapter 511. Yu Family's Movement, Miss Xiao Chan? _1 Qingzhou Mountain. Lu Family. Boom! That day, above Qingzhou Valley, nature's spiritual energy began to surge, slowly forming a vortex of spiritual energy. What's happening? The surge of spiritual energy. Forming a vortex. Someone is attempting foundation establishment. Foundation establishment? Who in our family is attempting foundation establishment? It must be because the Lu family ancestor previously rendered great service to the Qingyun sect, exchanging for a foundation establishment elixir or foundation establishment spirit objects, allowing someone from our family to initiate foundation establishment. I wonder if it's Uncle Miao Feng or Auntie Miaoga who is attempting foundation establishment. I read in the books, once the spiritual energy vortex forms, it signifies that the 3 challenges of foundation establishment have been passed, arriving at the most critical stage of foundation establishment. The final moment. I wonder if they can succeed. They must succeed. If so, our Lu family will have 2 foundation establishment great cultivators. Upon seeing this spiritual energy vortex, many Lu family disciples spoke out, buzzing with discussion. Although the news about Lu Yuanzhong's serious injuries had not been spread throughout the family, there were still many who heard rumors, whispers about it. They knew that their family ancestor had been severely injured while fighting the Xiahou clan and didn't have much longer to live. Now, seeing someone in the family attempting foundation establishment, they were naturally overjoyed and extremely excited. After all, for the Lu family, regardless of whether Lu Yuanzhong was seriously injured, having one more foundation establishment ancestor was an incredibly good thing. Each additional foundation establishment cultivator meant that the Lu family's strength and foundation had risen to a new level. Yuanding Miaoga, you too must secure the family. Deep in Qingzhou Valley, Lu Yuanzhong acted as the protector for Lu Miaofeng. Seeing that Lu Miaofeng had reached the final step and was about to congeal his mana and lift the platform of the Tao, he transmitted his voice to Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaoga. Qi refinement impacting foundation establishment, the convergence of nature's spiritual energy, would inevitably cause some commotion. Especially at the final moment. Though the commotion was not significant, it could be clearly perceived within Qingzhou Mountain. But it was not guaranteed that it wouldn't invite dangerous trouble. Not to mention, the cultivation families in the vicinity all planted spies and internal informants within each other to grasp and understand the situation and information about each other's family. No one wanted to see a new foundation establishment cultivator born in a neighboring family. Hence, foundation establishment attempts were usually kept secretive. Just like how the previous Lu family ancestor had secretly taken him away from Qingzhou Mountain to attempt foundation establishment elsewhere. Only after the success of foundation establishment did he return to the family. Yes, ancestor. Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaoga responded with a nod. Due to the war against the Xiahou clan, the Lu family had suffered great losses. Thus, for Lu Miaofeng's foundation establishment this time, to avoid any accidents, Lu Miaoga had been stationed in Qingzhou Mountain. By Lake Mountain. Yu family. Ancestor, we have received word from our people that someone from the Lu family is currently attempting foundation establishment. They have passed the 3 challenges of foundation establishment and have reached the critical moment. As for who is attempting foundation establishment, it's not yet confirmed, but it's either Lu Miaoga or Lu Miaofeng. The patriarch of the Yu family came to the back mountain of the family estate and reported this piece of information to their patriarch. When Lu Yuanzhong was poisoned by corpse toxin in Blackwater Pool, I had guessed that his life wouldn't last long, and he would need to prepare for the aftermath, allowing the Lu family to birth a new foundation establishment cultivator. Previously, young Master Bai, after exchanging for a foundation establishment elixir at the Qingyun sect, used up all the family's savings by relying on old favors to secure an opportunity to attempt foundation establishment within the Qingyun sect, and he successfully achieved foundation establishment. If we allow the Lu family to birth another new foundation establishment cultivator, won't all our Yu family's plans be in vain? Yu Jinyang, clad in a blue brocade robe with youthful looks despite his white hair, his eyes sharp as lightning, snorted coldly. Ancestor, do you mean to directly attack Qingzhou Mountain? The patriarch of the Yu family tentatively inquired. Recently, the Qingyun sect has forbidden conflicts among the major families. If we launch a full attack on Qingzhou Mountain, we might provoke the Qingyun sect to intervene. Moreover, right now the Lu family must be on high alert with their great formation fully operational. Thus attacking Qingzhou Mountain wouldn't be easy. Furthermore, our Yu family has a cooperation arrangement with the Lu family, and it would seem rather unsightly for us to act this way. Yu Jinyang declared. Ancestor, are we just going to let the Lu family succeed in foundation establishment? The patriarch of the Yu family voiced out, somewhat unwilling to accept the situation. He was very clear that his ancestor had great ambitions, aiming to swallow up the surrounding major families. Currently, the Wugong Ridge Zheng family was without a successor and their patriarch's life was fading, already infiltrated by their Yu family. It could be said that once the Zheng family patriarch died, the Wugong Ridge Zheng family would completely become a vassal to their Yu family, an item in their bag. The 100 Birds Lake Bai family and Qingzhou Mountain Lu family also figured into their Yu family's plans. Initially, the lifespan of the Bai family ancestor was nearing its end, and as long as they outlasted him, 100 Birds Lake was unlikely to escape the grasp of their Five-Finger Mountain. By then, only Qingzhou Mountain Lu family would remain, naturally unable to face their Yu family alone. However, the Bai family ancestor also realized this fact. Knowing his life was short and that it was very difficult for someone in the family with superior spiritual roots to attempt foundation establishment, they needed a foundation establishment elixir. Therefore, during the fight against the Xiahou clan, he took the opportunity to risk his life. He wished to gain strong merit before death to acquire a foundation establishment elixir for his family. Although the Bai family ancestor died in battle, he truly accumulated considerable merit. Just a short while ago, relying on the merit of the Bai family ancestor, young Master Bai went to the Qingyun sect to exchange for a foundation establishment elixir, then spent all the family's savings to get the chance to attempt foundation establishment within the Qingyun sect, and he was successful. With a new foundation establishment cultivator, the Yu family naturally had to change their plans, focusing their breakthrough on Qingzhou Mountain's Lu family. They, the Yu family, had participated in the war against the Xiahou clan and knew that Lu Yuanzhong had sustained foundational injuries in that battle. Chapter 5:12. Yu family's movement, Miss Xiaochan? Therefore the plan, which was originally to grind the Bai family ancestor to death, was changed to grinding Lu Yuanzhong to death. As long as Lu Yuanzhong died, the Lu family would be at a loss, without a new foundation establishment cultivator emerging, and the Yu family could take the opportunity to divide Qingzhou Mountain and take the Red Leaf Valley market into their pocket. At that time, faced with the power of the Yu family, the Bai family would find it hard to stand alone and would have no choice but to submit. If, this time, a new foundation establishment cultivator were born to the Lu family and the Bai and Lu families continued their alliance, it would be much more difficult and troublesome for their Yu family to swallow the Red Leaf Valley market with two families' strength against them. Doing nothing and letting the Lu family initiate foundation establishment is not the style of this old ancestor. Go and inform Ning Jun to accompany this old man to Qingzhou Mountain. Now that the Lu family is at a critical juncture of foundation establishment, they naturally wouldn't dare to meet the enemy head-on. We just need to hide our identities, harass Qingzhou Mountain, and cause the nature's spiritual energy there to become chaotic. Besides, the one in Qingzhou Mountain who is attempting foundation establishment, upon hearing this disturbance, will certainly be distracted and his state of mind affected, which might lead to a failure in foundation establishment. Yu Jinyang stood with his hands behind his back and spoke. The ancestor is wise. The patriarch of the Yu family understood the intent of their family's old ancestor upon hearing these words. When a cultivator attempts foundation establishment, not only is abundant spiritual energy required, but also a quiet environment. Because the spiritual liquid concentrate is transforming into mana, lifting the Tao platform, one cannot afford to be distracted. One moment of negligence can lead to failure in foundation establishment. If someone were to interfere during the process, or if a situation arises outside, one's mentality and state of mind would surely be affected, thus affecting the foundation establishment. Especially when attempting foundation establishment, hearing disturbances and knowing that one's own family is under attack would likely affect any clan cultivator's state of mind and mentality. Ancestor, if we act in this manner, what should we do if the Lu family goes to the Qingyun sect to complain afterward? The patriarch of the Yu family continued to inquire. The Qingyun sect had regulations in place. During the recruitment period, all major families and forces must cease any conflicts and disputes. Furthermore, within 3 years, all must develop peacefully without engaging in conflict or war. The expedition against the Xiahou clan happened a mere half a year ago. If the Yu family were to commit such an act, and the Lu family were to complain to the Qingyun sect afterward, it could potentially bring trouble upon the Yu family. How could the Qingyun sect possibly care about such trivial matters? Unless we launch a full-scale attack on the Lu family and destroy Qingzhou Mountain, perhaps the Qingyun sect might send someone to question us. Merely harassing and affecting Qingzhou Mountain, why would the Qingyun sect have the leisure to deal with such matters? Even if someone were to come, it would be nothing more than a warning and some punishment. Yu Jinyang scoffed upon hearing this, speaking directly. He then turned to the patriarch of the Yu family and said, Ning Yuan, the Qingyun sect stands aloof from the world, and its actions have always been about maintaining its dignity, not upholding justice and fairness. To them, our family forces are merely dogs in their eyes, and they couldn't care less about our minor scuffles. Therefore, towards the Qingyun sect, we should hold reverence, but not excessive fear. Yu Jinyang spoke, his voice firm. Thank you for the teaching, ancestor. The patriarch of the Yu family said, bowing his hands in response. Soon after, Yu Jinyang left Yu Ninghu in charge of Bai Lake Mountain and, taking the newly advanced foundation establishment, Yu Ningjuan, went to Qingzhou Mountain. He also sent a message to Yu Yuanshan, who was stationed at the Red Leaf Valley Market. The three of them went to Qingzhou Mountain together, intending to disrupt and interfere with the foundation establishment happening there. At a mountain peak spiritual pool, Lu Chongsheng and Ling Zixiao were bathing in the spiritual pool, grooming their yang energy, and speaking intimate words to each other. Suddenly, a ripple spread through the void. Two figures appeared, and with a plop, they fell into the pool. One of the figures was pale-faced with no trace of blood, and upon falling into the water, began to sink with bubbling sounds. The other figure managed to stabilize herself as she fell into the pool, but, upon seeing Lu Chongsheng, she froze on the spot. In her beautiful eyes, a mix of emotions surged: surprise, astonishment, tenderness, and more, leaving her at a complete loss. However, Lu Chongsheng didn't notice all this. He and Ling Zixiao saw people appearing, and in the blink of an eye, their mana surged, gleaming lights flowed around their bodies. Then they moved to the shore, draping their robes loosely over themselves. Ling Zixiao leaned against Lu Chongsheng with flushed cheeks. She never would have imagined, after finally mustering the courage to comply with Lu Chongsheng's unreasonable request and agreeing to groom their yang energy in this mountain peak spiritual pool, that they would encounter such an incident. This left her mind a blank slate, as if muddled, her heart stricken with intense embarrassment. Lu Chongsheng was somewhat astonished as he looked towards the two who had crashed into the spiritual pool. He wondered how the two had appeared there. He was focusing all his efforts on sorting out the yang energy for Ling Zixiao, but his divine sense was indeed paying attention to the surroundings. He hadn't noticed at all how the two managed to approach so quietly. Moreover, around this spiritual pool, Ling Zixiao had laid down an inverted 5 elements formation. Typically, foundation establishment cultivators could not easily break through it, let alone enter the formation silently and without a trace. Lu Lang. Just then, Meng Xiaochan, dressed in a purple gown, emerged from the water surface, her face pale as she called out to Lu Chongsheng. Her shout was laden with a mix of emotions: surprise, joy, longing, tenderness, grievance, and more. Earlier, she and her master Nangong Meili had faced danger in the cave and had to forcibly activate a third-order teleportation talisman to make their escape. For her, this level of talisman was not only extremely draining to use and difficult to activate, but it was also uncontrollable. She could only rely on her master Nangong Meili's aid to activate it. The moment they used the talisman, they were attacked by a burst of sword chi. Although they managed to escape using the teleportation talisman, both she and Nangong Meili were injured in the process. But she had never imagined that the teleportation talisman would lead her to Lu Chongsheng. On this trip to Jiang country, her heart had been in turmoil, wondering if she might encounter Lu Chongsheng. After all, she harbored an unstoppable longing for Lu Chongsheng, and to say he filled her thoughts by day and haunted her dreams by night was by no means an exaggeration. However, a shred of clarity and rationality in her heart made her dread seeing Lu Chongsheng. She was afraid that upon seeing Lu Chongsheng, she would lose herself. Lu Lang. Ling Zixiao quickly recovered her wits and looked towards the two in the spiritual pool, ready to suppress them through the formation. But upon hearing Meng Xiaocan's sudden call of Lu Lang, she was stunned again, with a dumbfounded expression. What the hell? Did this girl know Lu Chongsheng? Furthermore, this call of Lu Lang gave her the impression of a long-awaited reunion, filled with tender affection. It made her immediately realize that the relationship between the two was out of the ordinary, extremely close. Could it be that the two were called here by Lu Chongsheng, wanting to? In an instant, a notion surfaced in Ling Zixiao's mind, but she quickly dismissed the thought the next moment. Not out of trust in Lu Chongsheng's character. When it came to matters of men and women, she had no particular trust in Lu Chongsheng. She had long determined that Lu Chongsheng was no ordinary cultivator. Although such a scenario was outrageous, it was not entirely impossible. The reason she dismissed the idea was that she could clearly sense that their appearance hadn't triggered her formation. It seemed as if they had arrived through the use of space-traveling spell or teleportation formation. Yet, space-traveling spells are exceedingly profound. Apart from the rare mutant spiritual root known as Sky Spirit Root, only nascent soul true lords could master such divine skills. As for teleportation formations, that's even less likely. One would need to be a third-order top-rank formation master to set up such a formation. And the process of setting one up is very complex. It's impossible to teleport without a proper setup. Miss Xiaochan. Lu Chongqing, hearing Meng Xiaoquan's voice and seeing the girl before him, was surprised. He hadn't expected that the girl who had suddenly appeared would be Meng Xiaochan. From the information he had purchased in Zhouxiao Immortal City, he already knew that Meng Xiaochan belonged to the Five Poisons cult of Jin Kingdom's demonic path. She should be on the run from the Heavenly Sword sect with the Heaven Spider emissary Nangong Meili. So how did she suddenly show up here? Indeed, they know each other. Ling Zixiao, upon hearing Lu Changsheng's address to Meng Xiaochan, paused internally and thought to herself that they indeed knew each other, and their relationship was not ordinary. The next moment, upon seeing Meng Xiaoquan's appearance and features, her eyes instantly showed a look of surprise and doubt. She had seen information about the demonic path incident in Zhouxiao Immortal City that Lu Chongsheng had purchased. The jade slip contained details about Meng Xiaochan, her background, and introduction. Now seeing Meng Xiaochan, she instantly recognized that this was the demonic path cultivator who was being pursued by the Heavenly Sword sect as mentioned in the incident at Zhouxiao Immortal City. This caused her to wonder with surprise how Lu Chongqing had dealings with a demon cultivator. Could it really be that he was some kind of heretical or demonic cultivator? Chapter 513. Such a coincidence? A wave of romance? A cauldron-like body. Under one Lu Lang, it's me. Meng Xiaochan, seeing Lu Chongqing recognize her, immediately said with a face full of joy. She then wanted to embrace Lu Chongqing like a swallow returning to its nest. But the next moment, her delicate body suddenly stiffened. She stood in place, silent. Her teeth bit into her pale lips, her hands clasped over her clothes, a look of profound sadness and dejection on her face, her mood low. Although she harbored a heart full of longing and affection for Lu Chongqing, upon seeing Lu Chongqing, an uncontrollable joy and excitement surged from the depths of her heart. But she was clear in her heart. Her affection for Lu Chongqing stemmed from the Lockhart Gu. Between her and Lu Chongqing, there was nothing that could be called affection. Even more so, considering the past grudges and disputes between them, Lu Chongqing might harbor disgust for her. Now, she had stumbled upon Lu Chongqing in such a situation. Furthermore, as a person of the demon path, she was currently being pursued and wanted by the Heavenly Sword sect of Zhang country. It made her emotions complicated, unsure of how to face Lu Chongqing. Did this woman do something to wrong Lu Chongqing in the past? Ling Zixiao, standing to the side, saw Meng Xiaoquan's face filled with excitement and joy moments ago, wanting to throw herself into an embrace, but now, she immediately showed a hesitant and awkward appearance, and couldn't help but speculate in her heart. Lu Chongqing, seeing Meng Xiaoquan's pitiful look, as if she had done something wrong, could roughly guess what the other party was thinking. After all, the two of them couldn't be said to be familiar with each other. They had only met a few times, and their meetings had not been friendly. But to say they weren't familiar? The two of them had, because of the Peach Blossom Gu, formed deep bonds. After the incident in Red Leaf Valley, Lu Chongqing was almost certain. Under the backlash of the Peach Blossom Gu, Meng Xiaoquan's affection for him ran deep. Otherwise, she wouldn't have acted so irrationally when he was in danger, and after the event, she would not have given him Foundation Establishment elixirs, Foundation Establishment spirit objects, and spirit stones, all for the sake of his forgiveness. Miss Xiaochan, how come you are here? Lu Chongqing asked. In the Battle of Red Leaf Valley, he had let go of the past grievances. After all, he hadn't lost out in his dealings with Meng Xiaochan. He managed to reach Foundation Establishment easily, and it was all thanks to the Foundation Establishment elixir gifted by Meng Xiaochan. Without Meng Xiaoquan's two Foundation Establishment elixirs, not only would his own Foundation Establishment have been difficult, Xiaoxia's attempt might also have been dangerous. Besides, maybe it's because men are more forgiving of those who like them. After all, she likes him so much. If she were to become the mother of his child in the future, would these issues even matter? Let it be considered as a meeting of love and conflict. However, Lu Chongqing was indeed curious why Meng Xiaochan had suddenly appeared here. I came to Zhang country with my master to do a task and then was pursued by the Heavenly Sword sect. Meng Xiaochan, hearing Lu Chongqing's question, pursed her lips and without hiding anything, told the story bit by bit. She indicated how she and her master had been hiding along the way from the Heavenly Sword sect's pursuit, but were discovered previously and managed to escape with the help of a teleportation talisman. A teleportation talisman? You just happened to teleport here. Such a coincidence? Lu Chongqing, hearing this, paused. He immediately thought of his peach blossom goo. The peach blossom goo would enhance his love luck in mysterious ways. And in his eyes, this incident fit the bill for love luck. Otherwise, how could such a coincidence occur? He asked, Miss Xiaochan, do you have any plans for what comes next? Although he held no ill feelings toward Meng Xiaochan, he even thought of taking her home to be the mother of his child at one point. But now, since she was involved with the demon path and the Heavenly Sword sect, he didn't harbor such thoughts anymore. It wasn't because of some irreconcilable difference between righteous and demonic paths or a prejudice against the demon path, but given the current tense situation between Jiang Country and Jin Kingdom, Meng Xiaoquan's involvement in the Zhouxiao Immortal City incident would implicate him with the demon path if he had any connections with her. If the Heavenly Sword sect found out, not only he but the entire Lu family could be in danger. Lu Lang, don't worry. I won't cause you any trouble. I'll take my master and leave. Meng Xiaochan, biting her pale lips, said so. As soon as she finished talking, her heart skipped a beat, and she immediately remembered her master, Nangong Meili, and how after they fell into the spiritual pond, her master had sunk into the water. Seeing Lu Chongqing, she had been thrown into disarray. For the moment, she had forgotten all about Nangong Meili. Master! She exclaimed in shock, and immediately dove into the spiritual pond to fish out her master. Master, 5 Poisons Cult. Heaven Spider Emissary, Nangong Meili? Lu Changsheng's eyes slightly narrowed, looking towards the figure that sank into the spiritual pond. In his mind appeared the image of the bewitching woman in black he had seen at the Zhouxiao Immortal City. Even though he had only glanced at her briefly at the time, her captivating allure had left a lasting impression on him. According to the intelligence he bought afterward at Heaven Knowledge Tower, this person was likely the Heaven Spider emissary of the 5 Poisons cult, Nangong Meili. Mid-nascent soul stage cultivation, born with a seductive body. A moment later, glub glub, Meng Xiaochan emerged from the spiritual pond holding Nangong Meili, who was clad in a black dress. At this moment, both of their clothing was totally wet, clinging to their skin, their curvaceous figures fully displayed under the wet fabric. Especially Nangong Meili, in her black gauze dress, her figure was graceful and already full of temptation, bewitching now, her perfect enticing body, wrapped in wet clothing, was the epitome of temptation. The proud fullness in front of her chest heaved with her breathing, the slender waist that could be grasped with a hand, and the round, prominent bottom, all radiated an intoxicating carnal scent. Chapter 514. Such a coincidence? A wave of romance? A cauldron-like body. The damp, jet-black hair clung to her ghastly pale and bloodless exquisite cheeks, beautiful and bewitching, exuding an indescribable sense of tragic beauty. It ignited a possessive desire in onlookers while also compelling them to feel sympathy. So this is the naturally charming body? Even in a comatose state, she's filled with allure and charm. Lu Chongqing couldn't help but glance sideways, taking in a few looks, and felt moved by the charm of the beguiling body. To his knowledge, the naturally enchanting body was just a type of ordinary spiritual body commonly found in females. It was nothing rare or special. The allure of Nangong Meili, besides her natural bewitching body, he reckoned, must also have something to do with her appearance, or perhaps the cultivation technique she practiced. This thought triggered another in his mind. If he were to absorb her essence, he wondered what benefits he might acquire. In the cultivation world, the enchanting body was also referred to by the term cauldron body constitution. This indicated that the bewitching body was especially suitable for practicing dual cultivation absorption techniques. Although it wasn't as beneficial as the charming female body, or primordialine physique, for dual cultivation, it still offered significant advantages for absorption, particularly since the Nangong Meili in front of him was a nascent soul immortal. If he could absorb her true elixir's primordialine, the benefits might be substantial. Once this idea took hold, it immediately filled Lu Changsheng's mind, making him feel as though 2 little figures were wrestling in his head. One dark figure told him that both Meng Xiaochan and Nangong Meili were from the demon path. If he became involved, it might bring trouble. He'd be better off taking the opportunity to absorb her essence and kill her. On the other hand, a light figure told him that he was, after all, a gentleman of integrity. How could he commit such an act? Master! Meng Xiaochan embraced her master, bringing her to the shore to examine her condition. She immediately found that her master's condition was very bad. Previously, she and Nangong Meili had escaped with a teleportation talisman. But with her own strength, she couldn't activate the talisman at all. It was only possible with Nangong Meili's assistance. Nangong Meili at that time was already in a severely injured state, having just awakened and extremely weak. Upon activating the talisman, she collapsed back into unconsciousness. Then, she was struck by a sword beam from Lan Ruoxue, which drastically worsened her already serious condition. It wasn't life-threatening yet. But if it continued, her life would indeed be at risk. Meng Xiaochan immediately took out a healing pill from her storage bag, fed it to Nangong Meili, and helped her refine the medicinal essence. Miss, I see that your master is in a bad state right now. Moreover, you and your master are being hunted by the Heavenly Sword Sect. If you leave like this, once you encounter a disciple of the Heavenly Sword Sect, I'm afraid it will be dangerous. At that moment, Ling Zixiao, who was beside Lu Changxing, looked at Meng Xiaochan and spoke out. Through Lu Changxing's gaze and breathing, she could sense that her lover had a possessive desire for the present Nangong Meili. To this she could somewhat understand. On one hand, Nangong Meili was indeed captivating. Even as a woman herself, she felt somewhat attracted. An additional reason was that she had reviewed the information on the demon path happenings in the Jiuxiao Immortal City. She recognized Nangong Meili. She knew that this unconscious woman was one of the nascent soul immortals being chased by the Heavenly Sword Sect. The Heaven Spider emissary from the Five Poisons cult, Nangong Meili. She was aware that Lu Changxing was proficient in many dual cultivation and absorption techniques. A weakened, unconscious nascent soul immortal before him was like a grand medicinal herb to someone like Lu Changxing, who was adept in absorption techniques. If he could absorb her essence, the benefits might be immense. My disciple and I appearing here will surely bring trouble for Taoist Lu and Lu Taoist. Therefore, in order not to cause you two any trouble. Meng Xiaocan's delicate face was somewhat pale. She bit her lip lightly, her voice quivering as she spoke. How could she not know that she and her master were in extreme danger? But at this moment, her heart was very complicated. On one hand, her affection for Lu Changxing made her want to approach him, to show her soft side in front of him, seeking help. Yet that same affection made her worry about causing Lu Changxing trouble. Apart from affection, the few remaining shreds of rationality in her heart also made her worried. Fear gripped her that Lu Changxing might turn against her and her master. After all, she had witnessed Lu Changxing's methods before. She knew Lu Changxing was truly extraordinary. A decade had passed, and Lu Changxing had successfully established his foundation, his strength and methods only becoming more formidable. If her master, Nangong Meili, had been well, things would have been fine. But now her master was seriously injured and comatose, and she herself was in a weakened state. If Lu Changxing decided to make a move against them, she feared she would be utterly powerless to resist. Miss Xiaochan, as Zixiao said, it's very dangerous for you to take your master away with you now. There's a formation here that conceals your presence, which should offer some security. Let me take a look at you and your master's condition. Lu Changxing looked at Meng Xiaochan before him, sighed softly, his heart softening a bit. In the end, he couldn't bring himself to take advantage of their vulnerability, to harvest and kill them. Nor could he watch Meng Xiaochan, who had deeply cared for him, leave with Nangong Meili in such a state, falling into peril. Since fate had strangely brought them together here, creating ties between them, adding a few more didn't matter anymore. Lu Lang. Meng Xiaochan heard these words, her beautiful eyes locked onto Lu Changxing, her eyes reddening, slightly moist. She was not a fragile person. Since her grandmother's death, she had been traveling alone through the cultivation world, her temperament surpassing countless others. But these past few months had been too exhausting for her. Her master comatose, facing the pursuit and assassination by the Heavenly Sword Sect, each day was filled with terror, like walking on thin ice. Today, her master had finally awakened, but due to Lan Ruoxu's sword strike, their situation had deteriorated further. Not only was she weakened, But her master Nangong Meili was also facing a life-threatening crisis. Therefore, faced with Lu Changsheng's concerned words, her tough inner self and taut nerves completely collapsed. "It's okay." Lu Chongqing saw Meng Xiaoquan's eyes brimming with tears, her delicate and pure face full of grievances, and he felt pity, sighing softly in his heart, moving forward to comfort her. He Lu has always been tender-hearted, unable to bear seeing tears. Meng Xiaoquan's pitiful demeanor indeed invoked sympathy, and made him want to hold her in his arms and protect her. Lu Lang Wu, hearing Lu Changsheng's soothing words, like a gentle breeze, Meng Xiaochan could no longer control her emotions, suppressing them no longer, she rushed into Lu Changsheng's arms, hugging him tightly. Her pale, delicate cheek rested against his chest as she sobbed softly. The sobbing grew louder, eventually turning into a loud wail. It seemed as if she wanted to release all the sadness, pain, anxiety, discomfort, and all other emotions from deep within her heart. It's all right, I'm here." Lu Chongqing hugged Meng Xiaochan, his hand gently caressing her back, his voice soothing her. Although he knew Meng Xiaochan must not be young in age, but her appearance and her posture still conveyed a sense of a delicate and young girl. Ling Zixiao, who was watching from aside, said nothing. He pondered to himself, considering how Meng Xiaochan previously interacted with Lu Chongqing in a hesitant manner, wondering what it was all about. From the current situation, she did not seem to have done anything to wrong Lu Chongqing. Nor did Lu Chongqing seem to hold any grudge against her. What is going on between these two? Ling Zixiao, observing the scene, truly found it incomprehensible. After a long while, the young girl had expressed her tumultuous emotions. Lifting her rain-streaked delicate face, she pleaded with a vulnerable look, "Lu Lang, can you save my master?" Before, Meng Xiaochan would have found it difficult to ask Lu Chongqing for help. But after her emotional outburst, not only had her tough inner self and taut nerves crushed, but also the last bit of rationality she had towards Lu Chongqing. Instinctively, she saw him as her support. "All right, I have healing pills here. Start by recovering from your injuries." Lu Chongqing extended his hand and gently wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. He then took out a bottle of high-grade healing pills from his storage bag and gave them to Meng Xiaochan. Thank you, Lu Lang." Meng Xiaoquan's pale face broke into a smile, and she took out a pill and swallowed it directly. Then Lu Chongqing moved to the side, to where Nangong Meili lay pale and tempting, took hold of her pallid wrist, and began to check her condition. Although there's no risk to her life, waking her up and recovering will be far from easy. If she isn't treated immediately, and precious materials and treasures aren't used to warm and nourish the physical Bodhis meridians and the true elixir, not only will it be difficult to awaken, but even if she does wake up, it's expected that there will be damage to the foundation and a regression in cultivation level. Lu Chongqing examined her one more time with his divine sense. He made a rough judgment about Nangong Meili's condition. After all, as a nascent soul immortal, her vitality was extremely tenacious, and she wouldn't die so easily. But if things kept dragging out like this, whether she could awaken and recover was really hard to say. And even if she did wake up, it's very likely that she would be left with chronic problems and suffer damage to her foundation and regression in cultivation level. "Lu Lang, how is it? How is the condition of my mentor?" At this moment, Meng Xiaochan looked toward Lu Chongqing with hopeful eyes and asked in a weak voice. "Your mentor's condition is quite troublesome." Lu Chongqing exhaled lightly and shook his head. Nangong Meili's condition was indeed troublesome. He didn't have any good solutions for such a situation, only the most straightforward and old-fashioned ones. Elixir medicines, talismans, yin-yang nirvana art, life extension technique, the whole array of treatments. But to stabilize the condition of a nascent soul immortal like Nangong Meili would be difficult, and the cost was sure to be enormous. And he had no relationship with Nangong Meili, so why would he go to such lengths to save her? Hearing this, Meng Xiaoquan's expression immediately dimmed. She had just checked on Nangong Meili's condition. She knew that her mentor was in a very bad state right now. Yet she had an inexplicable trust in Lu Chongqing, subconsciously placing her hopes on him. However, it's not entirely hopeless. Lu Chongqing, seeing Meng Xiaoquan's pitiful appearance, pondered for a moment and spoke softly. He had given up on taking advantage of the situation to harvest from Nangong Meili, but he hadn't completely abandoned the idea. After his examination, he discovered that Nangong Meili was likely still a virgin and possessed true elixir Yuan Yin. At the same time, he discovered that Nangong Meili's true elixir had a Yin Chill attribute. She must have cultivated some Yin Chill attribute technique. If Nangong Meili were to wake up and recover, it's possible she could suppress the eruption of Ling Zixio's dragon roar physique and allow him the opportunity to resolve his own dragon roar physique issues. Saving her life and taking some benefits in return wouldn't be excessive, right? Lu Lang, do you have a way? Meng Xiaofan's eyes lit up at his words. Yes, Lu Chongqing nodded and spoke. Xiaochan, as people of the Five Poisons cult from Jin Kingdom, you are currently being pursued and hunted by the Heavenly Sword sect. Saving her would surely bring trouble upon me. Moreover, the method I have for saving people involves dual cultivation secret techniques. If I proceed with the rescue, not only will it cost me greatly, but afterward, your mentor might blame me and even make an attempt on my life. So why would I pay such a price to save someone? Lu Chongqing looked at the pitiful Meng Xiaochan before him and said earnestly. He did feel somewhat tender-hearted and pity for Meng Xiaochan, but he was not an indiscriminately kind person. He wasn't going to act soft-hearted and disregard the costs and consequences, exhausting his own source of life to assist and rescue. Moreover, while he trusted Meng Xiaochan, he had no trust at all in her mentor, the demon path witch Nangong Meili. Who knows if, after saving her, she wouldn't turn around and act ungrateful. A nascent soul immortal, even in a weakened state, has extraordinary methods. Dual cultivation secret techniques, costing greatly. Chapter 5:16. Deep Master-Disciple Affection. Refining the Lockhart Gu Meng Xiaochan, upon hearing these words, lightly pursed her lips and remained silent. After a moment of contemplation, she suddenly looked up. Her pale and delicate face showed a firm resolve as she said to Lu Chongqing, Lu Lang, so long as you can rescue my master, I will agree to any request you have. As for when my master wakes up, I will explain everything to her and ensure she won't harm you in the slightest. Meng Xiaochan spoke such words out loud. She knew that since Lu Chongqing had spoken in such a manner, he must be confident in his ability to save her master. Otherwise, he wouldn't have spoken such words. As for Lu Chongqing coveting beauty and her master's primordial Yin, she didn't think in that direction at all. On one hand, it was because of her absolute trust in Lu Chongqing. On the other hand, in her view, if Lu Chongqing really wanted to do so, there was no need for such troubles. He could just take action directly. She and her master were completely powerless in the face of Lu Chongqing. Therefore, she firmly believed that Lu Chongqing was willing to pay the price to save her master for her sake. Indeed. Ling Zixiao, who was next to them, snorted lightly upon hearing the conversation. She thought to herself that Lu Chongqing had finally shown his true colors. After all was said and done, it was still a matter of lust. However, as her partner, she would naturally not stand idly by if her beloved harbored such thoughts. After all, Lu Chongqing had done so much for her these days, and it was only right for her to do something for him in return. Moreover, her lover's relationship with the young girl seemed rather complicated. Some words may not be appropriate to speak too bluntly, but if she were to speak them, it wouldn't matter. Ahem. Thereupon, Ling Zixiao let out a faint cough. Her voice crisply stated, Fellow Taoist, I was previously on the brink of death with my foundation damaged, but Lu Lang used a dual cultivation secret technique to save my life and heal my injuries. But this secret technique carries a huge cost, not only depleting one's origin source qi but also shortens one's lifespan. It's not as simple as you lightly promising to agree to any request. Besides, both you and your master are from the demon path and are known for acting without any inhibitions. When your master recovers and Lu Lang's origin source is damaged, what can he and I do if your master decides to strike? Even if your master refrains from acting against Lu Lang for your sake, what will happen if she later reveals your relationship with Lu Lang to the Heavenly Sword sect? Ling Zixiao looked at Meng Xiaochan and posed these questions. Meng Xiaochan was silent upon hearing these words. Just like what Lu Chongqing and Ling Zixiao had said, being involved with them was inherently risky and could lead to trouble. If Lu Chongqing were to save someone, the ties would not be ordinary. If the Heavenly Sword sect were to find out, They might bring about a deadly calamity. Moreover, Lu Changsheng's rescue would come at a great cost and offer him no benefits. And based on her understanding of her master's character, she knew that although her master often assumed a carefree and flirtatious demeanor, enjoying teasing her, she always despised men and never spared them a second glance. If Lu Changsheng were to use a dual cultivation technique to heal her master, it was very likely that Nangong Mili could become annoyed afterward and act against Lu Changsheng. At that time, she wasn't sure she could persuade her enraged master. She wanted Lu Changsheng to save Nangong Mili, but she didn't want Lu Changsheng to fall into danger or attract trouble. Suddenly, the air was filled with silence. All three remained quiet. Lu Lang, do you carry the Lockhart Gu with you? At this moment, Meng Xiaochan lightly bit her lip and, with her eyes gazing at Lu Changsheng, she asked. She was well aware that escaping the pursuit of the Heavenly Sword sect and returning to the Five Poisons cult with her master was virtually impossible. The only option was to rely on Lu Changsheng's intervention until her master recovered. Therefore, even if it came at a significant cost, she was willing to have her master treated by Lu Changsheng using a dual cultivation secret technique. Moreover, in her heart, a character like Lu Changsheng was also a suitable match for her master. However, to ensure that her master would not harm Lu Changsheng upon awakening, she thought of the Lockhart Gu. The very Lockhart Gu that Lu Changsheng had taken from her. Lockhart Gu. Lu Changsheng was somewhat surprised to hear this. Yes, the one from before. The blood-red Gu insect. Meng Xiaochan spoke, her small hands lightly resting on her dress, as she looked down at her toes and said in a soft voice. She had intended to say the very Gu insect that she had used to bewitch Lu Changsheng before, but in the end, the memory of that event made it difficult for her to speak. Are you speaking of this Gu insect? Lu Changsheng, upon hearing this, immediately knew what Meng Xiaochan was referring to. He reached into his spiritual pet bag and took out a black Gu container. Opening the container, he revealed a Gu insect no more than an inch long, with a translucent bloody luster. It was the very Lockhart Gu he had obtained from Meng Xiaochan back then. He had long suspected it to be a Gu of love, which, with just one bite, would cause one to fall deeply in love. But the exact effect was unclear to him. Moreover, considering the unpredictability and dangers associated with Gu insects, he had always hesitated to refine it. Lockhart Gu? Ling Zixiao, upon hearing this, looked at the Gu in Lu Changsheng's hand and showed a look of surprise and confusion. Because of her dragon roar physique, she was unable to cultivate normally, so she spent most of her time studying formations, reading various books and notes, searching for a way to deal with her physique. She once came across information about the Lockhart Gu in a manual of a Gu cultivator. A top-tier earth spirit Gu. Its effects were incredibly overbearing. Once bitten by the Lockhart Gu, one would develop affectionate feelings for the host of the Gu. Virgin love emerging without reason, deepening profoundly. Even nascent soul immortals, or even nascent soul true lords would, after being bitten, inevitably fall for it despite realizing something was amiss. Chapter 517. Deep Master-Disciple Affection. Refining the Lockhart Gu, it would harbor affection for its host and feel no malice. She had not expected that Lu Changsheng actually possessed a Lockhart Gu. According to ancient records, such a Gu insect is exceedingly rare and is considered a spirit Gu of heaven and earth. Could it be that this woman has been bitten by the Lockhart Gu, and thus she has fallen in love with Lu Changsheng? Ling Zixiao looked at Meng Xiaochan, musing in her heart. She had long noticed that the relationship between Lu Changsheng and Meng Xiaochan was strange. Not like lovers, cultivation partners, or a normal relationship between a man and a woman. She had pondered for a long time but could not figure out the nature of their relationship. Now, upon seeing the Lockhart Gu, she suddenly had a speculation. However, it seems that this Lockhart Gu is not Lu Changsheng's but belongs to this woman. This woman was born into the Five Poisons cult. If she has inherited the Gu tradition, then acquiring the Lockhart Gu might make sense. But why is the Lockhart Gu in Lu Changsheng's hands, and why is this young girl afflicted by the Lockhart Gu herself? Ling Zixiao felt confused again, unable to understand what was going on. Yes, it is this Lockhart Gu. Meng Xiaochan saw the Lockhart Gu and her eyes revealed a mix of complex emotions. It was because of this Lockhart Gu that she and Lu Changsheng developed a deep connection. She pursed her lips and said softly, once bitten by the Lockhart Gu, one will develop feelings of love for its host. If Lu Lang worries that the master might harm you, you can refine the Lockhart goo and use it on the master. That way, once the master wakes up, he will bear no malice towards Lu Lang, under the effect of the Lockhart goo. Meng Xiaochan spoke softly. Lu Chongqing raised his eyebrows upon hearing this. He had not expected Meng Xiaochan to offer such a solution. To let himself refine the Lockhart goo and use it on Nangong Meili. In that case, Nangong Meili upon awakening would harbor no ill will towards him. He had to admit, the suggestion was very tempting. Wouldn't this mean that not only could he take Meng Xiaochan home to bear children, but also bring the nascent soul immortal, Nangong Meili, home to bear children? Having children with a foundation establishment cultivator greatly increases the likelihood of the child possessing a spiritual root, and a good one at that. If one were to have children with a nascent soul immortal, the child's spiritual root talent would certainly be exceptional. Moreover, with the help of the Lockhart goo, he could brazenly live off the nascent soul immortal. Unlike now, where he has an opportunity to live off someone but dares not to do so. Fearing that he might try it and end up being consumed instead. Esteemed fellow Taoist, your 5 poisons cult is adept in the art of goo and poison. Your master, Nangong Meili, as a heaven spider emissary and nascent soul immortal of the 5 poisons cult, must surely have some goo insects in her body. And as I understand it, there is a concept of backlash among goo insects. If your master has a domineering goo in her body and Lu Lang uses the Lockhart goo on your master, it might not work and could even result in goo backlash. Before Lu Chongqing could reply, Ling Zixiao spoke. Although she had guessed some of the relationship between Lu Chongqing and Meng Xiaochan, her understanding of goo insects was ultimately limited. She was not sure whether doing so would be safe. So it was only natural to proceed with caution, asking some of the questions that Lu Chongqing might find hard to ask. Meng Xiaocan's delicate, pale face showed indifference as she glanced at Ling Zixiao. Then she turned to Lu Chongqing, her face sweetly pitiful, and said, Lu Lang can rest assured, to escape with me, the master used a secret technique to sacrifice all her goo insects. That's how we managed to flee from danger. Now, there are no more goo insects inside her body. Because of this, the master is so weak. Meng Xiaochan looked at Lu Chongqing with a sincere expression. Her showing this vulnerable, sweet, and humble side to Lu Chongqing was due to her affection for him. But this affection did not extend so far as to make her fond of Ling Zixiao. In fact, seeing Ling Zixiao getting close to Lu Chongqing made her quite unhappy. Moreover, she could sense that Ling Zixiao was clearly targeting her, so naturally, she was not in a good mood. Lu Lang, I have read about the Lockhart goo in ancient texts. Could you let me have a look at this goo insect? Ling Zixiao didn't care about Meng Xiaocan's glance but looked at Lu Chongqing and spoke. Lu Chongqing was somewhat astonished upon hearing this. He had not expected Ling Zixiao to be familiar with the Lockhart goo. Although he hadn't spent much effort searching for information related to this Lockhart goo, because of the Lockhart goo, Peach Blossom goo, and Hope goo, he had looked at quite a lot of information about the path of goo. However, the way of goo is truly too obscure, with too little relevant information. Therefore, he hadn't found any information on the Lockhart goo, Peach Blossom goo, and Hope goo. Miss Xiaochan, if I want to refine this Lockhart goo, how should I go about it? And as my master is a nascent soul immortal, would there be any repercussions if I were to use the goo on her? Lu Chongqing handed the Lockhart goo to Ling Zixiao for inspection and asked Meng Xiaochan. I have the incantation to refine the Lockhart goo. Lu Lang just needs to feed the Lockhart goo with his blood while refining it. The Lockhart goo is currently in a weakened state. This place has a spirit pool to serve as the formation core, which is excellent for setting up a formation. If we want to be completely safe, I can set up an additional concealment array within the formation, and there's a high chance we won't be discovered, Ling Zixiao said so. Good, I appreciate your efforts, Lu Chongqing said and nodded his head. He then had Meng Xiaochan teach him how to refine the Lockhart goo. Meng Xiaochan looked at Ling Zixiao in surprise, not expecting her to be an array master. Knowing that with the latter setting up the formation, they would be concealed and much safer, she and her master. She didn't linger and began to instruct Lu Chongqing in the method of refining the Lockhart goo. And she informed Lu Chongqing that he had a particularly dominant goo within his body. So, if he wished to refine other goo, as long as the goo in his body didn't mind, it would make the process much more efficient. After hearing this, Lu Chongqing immediately forced a drop of his essence blood to feed the Lockhart goo. Then, with a slight movement in his mental spirit, he allowed the peach blossom goo within his sea of consciousness to exude an oppressive force, subduing the Lockhart goo. Boom! Under the pressure of the peach blossom goo, the already weakened Lockhart goo trembled violently. Seeing this, Lu Chongqing immediately enveloped the Lockhart goo with his mana, activating the sacrificial refinement technique to refine the goo creature. Assisted by the peach blossom goo, the process went very smoothly. Lu Chongqing estimated that it would take just 3 to 5 days to fully refine the Lockhart goo. Chapter 518. Foundation Establishment Strikes. Healing the Heart Lock. _1 Outside Qingzhou Mountain. 3 Foundation Establishment auras tore through the sky. They wore conical bamboo hats, concealing their forms and breaths. The Lu family has indeed prepared early, running their family's great formation at full capacity. Yu Ningjuan remarked upon seeing Qingzhou Mountain shrouded in a sky-blue glaze. No matter, our presence here is simply to meddle and disrupt, Yu Jinyong stated gravely. As his words ended, he positioned himself above Qingzhou Mountain, within the Foundation Establishment region of Qingzhou Valley, and unleashed a spell, bombarding the second-rank Great Formation of Qingzhou Mountain. Upon witnessing this, Yu Yuanshan and Yu Ningjuan immediately joined Yu Jinyong in his actions. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, the spells of the 3 Foundation Establishment cultivators landed on the second-rank Great Formation, causing a huge commotion and noise. This assault, although not adequate to inflict substantial damage on the Great Formation, still managed to impact the nature's spiritual energy within Qingzhou Mountain to some extent. Moreover, those within Qingzhou Mountain who were attempting foundation establishment would inevitably notice this disturbance and become distracted. What's happening? An attack. An attack. Someone is attacking our family's Great Formation. This is bad. It's Foundation Establishment cultivators. Foundation Establishment Great Cultivators are attacking our Qingzhou Mountain. 3 Foundation Establishment? Why now of all times? This clearly targets our Lu family. Who could it be? Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaoga, among other core members of the Lu family, were patrolling and guarding various positions. Upon hearing such a commotion, their expressions changed, and they looked out beyond the formation. They saw 3 Foundation Establishment cultivators above Qingzhou Mountain, making moves against the Foundation Establishment region. 3 Foundation Establishment? Deep in Qingzhou Valley, Lu Yuanzhong, who was defending Lu Miaofeng, saw through the formation, eyed the 3 figures outside, his face somber. Miaofeng, steady your mind and don't get affected. He immediately transmitted his voice to Lu Miaofeng, who was inside the secret chamber, urging him to concentrate on his Foundation Establishment. The appearance of 3 Foundation Establishment cultivators who began attacking their Qingzhou Mountain's Great Formation without any warning, aimed directly at the Foundation Establishment region. It was clear they came with a purpose, to disrupt Lu Miaofeng's Foundation Establishment. Watching the 3 people above Qingzhou Mountain continuously bombarding the formation, Lu Yuanzhong had a faint guess about where they might have come from. But even if he guessed, it was of no use without evidence. All he could do was keep the Great Formation running at full power, stabilize the situation, and hold out until Lu Miaofeng's Foundation Establishment was successful. Only with Lu Miaofeng's successful Foundation Establishment could the Lu family have the capability to seek evidence and demand an explanation. That night, the crescent moon was high, and the stars filled the sky. At the mist-shrouded tranquil mountaintop, phew! Lu Chongqing let out a breath and looked at the blood-red, crystal-clear goo in his hand. After 4 days, he had finally refined the Lockhart goo. After refining the Lockhart goo, he could feel a strange connection with it. A connection not as deep as with his peach blossom goo, but it still gave him a general understanding of the Lockhart goo. The Lockhart goo could seize a person's 3 flowers, transform them into threads of affection, and lock them onto oneself. He looked towards Meng Xiaochan. He could distinctly sense an inexplicable link between them, which was the thread of affection. The Lockhart goo had placed Meng Xiaocan's threads of affection onto himself, thereby making her develop feelings of love towards him. This Lockhart goo can indeed only bind 1 or 2 more people. If those bound by it are too numerous or their cultivation is too high, It may exceed the gust limits, rendering it ineffective, or even causing the threads of affection to snap. This is normal after all. The Lockhart goo is but an earth spirit goo, and its effects are already quite remarkable. Moreover, with my foundation establishment cultivation, if I nurture this Lockhart goo well and restore it to the pinnacle of second rank, it won't be difficult to bind a nascent soul immortal, Lu Chongqing thought silently while examining the goo. The Lockhart goo could essentially bind cultivators one level higher than oneself. For instance, during his Qi refinement stage, the first-grade Lockhart goo could bind foundation establishment cultivators. During foundation establishment, a second-rank Lockhart goo could bind nascent soul immortal. During core formation, a third-rank peak Lockhart goo could bind true monarch. As for the Lockhart goo at fourth rank, it was still at the true monarch level. This was the upper limit of the Lockhart goo. Immediately afterwards, Lu Chongqing turned to look at Meng Xiaochan, who was using mana to nourish Nan Gongmili's physical body, and spoke, "Xiaochan, I have refined the Lockhart goo." "Lu Lang, you've refined the Lockhart goo?" Upon hearing that Lu Chongqing had refined the Lockhart goo so quickly, Meng Xiaocan's delicate and stunning face beamed with delight. Knowing that it took her more than a month to refine the Lockhart goo, but Lu Chongqing took only 4 days. This speed and efficiency were astonishing, and it made her think inwardly, fitting of her beloved Lang. He truly was extraordinary. With such a talented and handsome Lang as her lover, even if her master was affected by the Lockhart goo and grew affectionate towards Lu Chongqing, it wouldn't be a loss. Ling Zixiao, who heard the conversation, also looked towards Lu Chongqing, surprised that Lu Chongqing had refined the Lockhart goo. Although she was not familiar with the art of goo, she knew that refining a goo was no simple task, especially such a rare and advanced goo as the Lockhart goo. Because goo also have life and possess instinctive consciousness, they would resist the cultivator's refining process instinctively. Some fierce and dominant gusts could even cause backlash during the refining process. It seems that Lu Chongqing has in him a powerful and dominant goo, or a treasure related to goo arts. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for him to refine the Lockhart goo so rapidly. Alchemy, talisman making, talisman formation, and now a goo or treasure capable of suppressing an earth spirit goo. Who is he really? Her proud, round, full breasts, although lacking any adornment, were suffused with an enchanting allure. Her waist was slim enough to circle with one's hands, and at her disproportionately svelte waist and hips, her contours were distinct and rounded, like grinding stones, full and plump. Her legs were straight and long. Beneath the hem of her dress, half of her slender, beautiful leg was visible in high heels, white and silky, both noble and sexy. Indeed, from the inside out, every part of her, every inch of skin, radiated a fatally enticing charm. Even for Lu Chongqing, who had weathered many battles and seen much of the world, facing Nan Gongmili and thinking of what was to come stirred his emotions, and a slight heat arose in his lower abdomen. It seems my cultivation in this aspect is still not up to par. I need to gain more experience. Lu Chongqing took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. Among his many wives and maids, Nan Gongmili might not be the most beautiful, but she was certainly the most enticing and captivating, not only in her looks, figure, and aura. Her status as a nascent soul immortal also evoked in him an indescribable urge to conquer. 30 years east of the river. 30 years west. There was a time when he, Lu, would be at the mercy of a nascent soul immortal. Today he, Lu, could also ride the waves of a nascent soul immortal. Go! He mentally commanded and released the Lockhart goo. Swoosh! The Lockhart goo, like a red thread, flew and landed on Nan Gongmili's white and elegant swan neck. Immediately afterward, hiss! With a hiss, it bit into Nan Gongmili's white, elegant neck. As a nascent soul immortal, even without any body-refining techniques, her physical body was far from ordinary. But under the gentle bite of the Lockhart goo, a small red spot immediately appeared on her neck, a tiny wound shining with a blood-red luster. In a short time, Lu Chongqing could feel a mysterious force forming a connection through the Lockhart goo, landing upon his body. It established a wondrous connection between him and Nan Gongmili. The love thread. This was the Lockhart goo using Nan Gongmili's essence, qi, and spirit as a medium, transforming into a love thread, tied to himself. Currently, this strand of love thread was only a primer, very faint. nowhere near as strong as the one between Meng Xiaochan and himself. As time went on, the effects of the Lockhart goo would make the strand of love thread grow stronger. Eventually, the other party would fall completely in love with him. An infatuation beyond escape. Ling Zixiao quietly observed this scene from the side. She wondered whether the Lockhart goo could truly bind Nangong Meili completely, causing her to fall irrevocably in love with Lu Chongqing. If the Lockhart goo could hold a nascent soul immortal like Nangong Meili, then that amounted to Lu Chongqing gaining a nascent soul Dao companion. Although Nangong Meili was a demonic path cultivator and currently wanted by the Heavenly Sword sect, as long as she evaded their pursuit, she would be able to provide tremendous assistance to Lu Chongqing in the future. Meanwhile, she couldn't help but ponder. The Lockhart goo can bind up to 3 people at most. Now that Lu Chongqing had used the Lockhart goo on both Meng Xiaochan and Nangong Meili, she wondered, if disagreements arose between her and Lu Chongqing, would he use such a goo on her too? This thought caused her heart to suddenly tremble. This strand of love thread should not break away now, right? Lu Chongqing was unaware of Ling Zixiao's wild thoughts, quietly sensing his own love thread with Nangong Meili. He knew that to make Nangong Meili as deeply affectionate as Meng Xiaochan was, it would take a considerable amount of time. However, merely binding Nangong Meili and causing her to develop a fondness and favorable impression of him should not be difficult. But, after all, Nangong Meili was a nascent soul immortal. And the Lockhart goo had been kept in a dormant state by him, currently weak. Therefore he couldn't help but harbor some worries. Even if Nangong Meili regains consciousness, she will be in a weakened state. As long as I'm careful, even if she breaks free from the Lockhart goo, I have nothing to fear, Lu Chongqing thought to himself. His confidence in acting this way stemmed not only from the Lockhart goo but also from facing a weakened Nangong Meili. Cough cough Xiaochan, go stand guard over there. Lu Chongqing prepared to heal Nangong Meili. Seeing Meng Xiaochan kneeling at the side, he cleared his throat and spoke. Although he didn't mind her presence, it still felt somewhat awkward having her watch from the side. As for Ling Zixiao, he didn't care much. He considered it a way to acclimate her to such an atmosphere in advance. Oh, all right. Upon hearing this, Meng Xiaochan readily understood what was to follow. Her delicate face blushed as she quickly moved to another spot to stand guard. Ling Zixiao glanced at Lu Chongqing with some surprise, not expecting him to exclude Meng Xiaochan from the process. She took her place at the center of the formation, fully operating it. She did this to prevent any leakage of Nangong Meili's aura during this time, which might alert the Heavenly Sword sect. Huff! Lu Chongqing exhaled softly, raised his hand to remove the gauzy garment covering Nangong Meili. He then untied the sash at his waist, allowing the black skirt to fall away. A stunningly voluptuous and irresistibly alluring female body laid bare before Lu Chongqing's eyes. Instantly, the bright moonlight seemed to get lost and fall into the bewitching charm of this enchanting demonic woman. Her curves were smooth and round, every inch silkily delicate, with skin like creamy jade, her sanctified allure overwhelming in its beauty. Yet it seemed to contain boundless ferocity, capable of provoking the deepest desires, igniting one's blood with passion. Huff! Lu Chongqing's breath became slightly rapid, because the figure before him was truly that of a seductive devil straight out of hell. The exquisitely beautiful, unconscious pale face was captivating and alluring, evoking a boundless ferocity and possessive urge to ravish her upon pitying sight. He did not restrain himself. Confronting his own desires, he undressed and began to heal her. Chapter 520. The Mysterious Yin Seductive Body, Imbalance of Yin-Yang Energies. Unders for 1 Chapter 209. The spirit pool was serene, the moonlight flawless. A melodious and alluring moan rose from the mountaintop. Lu Chongqing was activating the tender embrace technique to heal Nangong Meili's injuries. This dual cultivation technique could, during the process of a man and woman cultivating together, absorb the vital yin essence from the female. Thereafter, it intertwined this vital yin essence with the male's vital yang essence, engendering 1 into 2 and 2 into 3, nurturing more yin and yang primordial essences, with a portion eventually returning to the female. Not only could this fill the woman's deficiencies, but also bolster her condition, imparting profound benefits. Nangong Meili's body was currently weak, her meridians and dantian dried up, her true elixir dim and lackluster. However, her life was not in danger. If she were to completely rely on the Nirvana art and life extension technique for recovery and treatment, the consumption would be excessively large. After all, Lu Chongqing was merely a foundation establishment cultivator. His origin source energy was limited. To rely solely on his origin source energy to fill and reinforce a nascent soul immortal who had suffered a severe deficit was incredibly challenging. It would require the expenditure of much of his lifespan. Therefore, Lu Chongqing considered using the dual cultivation method to return feed his own essence with the vital yin energy. First, he would replenish the other party, ensuring a basic self-healing and recovery capability, and then resolve the injuries and fundamental issues through the Nirvana art and life extension technique. Boom! Accompanying the first round of dual cultivation, Nangong Mili's vital yin essence erupted from within her. The surging and majestic vital yin energy, like torrential waves, flowed endlessly into Lu Changsheng's body. What? Lu Chongqing, feeling this vital yin essence, instantly realized something was amiss. Because this vital yin essence was too majestic, too vast. Even though she was a nascent soul immortal endowed with a true elixir yin essence, using a dual cultivation energy drain technique on her vital yin essence, it shouldn't have resulted in such an immense amount of vital yin essence. What's going on? Lu Chongqing harbored doubts in his heart, not understanding the situation. Why would there be such a vast amount of vital yin essence within Nangong Mili? The next moment. This vital yin essence entered his body, causing his mana to surge, and his chi ocean core within the dantian to tremble slightly. The yin-yang 5 elements foundation surrounded by circulating yin-yang energies instantly transformed into a small yin-yang fish, heading towards the vital yin essence and swallowing strands of the pale jade fluid. This is the yin origin? How could she possess such yin origin in her body? I understand now. Her spiritual body isn't some ordinary enchanting body, a naturally seductive body. It's the same as Shi Yu's moonlight spirit body, a certain kind of yin spiritual body. And what's more, this spiritual body enhances dual cultivation. It's a sort of dual cultivation physique. Lu Chongqing looked at the enchanting figure before him, whose flawless jade body was captivating, and he immediately grasped the situation. Nangong Mili's spiritual body was not as reported by Heaven Knowledge Tower, a naturally seductive body. Rather, it was a rare spiritual body that contained yin origin. This kind of spiritual body also had certain dual cultivation benefits. Otherwise, the vital yin essence of Nangong Mili's true elixir certainly wouldn't have been so immense and majestic. Furthermore, within the vital yin essence, the inclusion of this origin source fluid allowed his own yin-yang energies to respond, desiring to consume the origin, to ascend and transform. Naturally seductive body, yin origin, dual cultivation physique. Lu Chongqing was astonished at what kind of spiritual body Nangong Mili possessed. But the continuous influx of vital yin origin didn't allow him any time to ponder further, nor did he have the inclination to do so. He hurriedly activated the tender embrace technique, blending his vital yang with the vital yin. The slow infusion of vital yin with vital yang caused the mana within Lu Changsheng's body to surge tumultuously, making the lake within his dantian royal. The next moment. Boom! A rumbling echoed, Lu Changsheng's dantian swelled, surrounded by a pervasive robust magic aura. His cultivation level had broken through from the second level of foundation establishment to the third level. Originally, it would have taken him several years to achieve this breakthrough. But under the powerful surge of the vital yin essence and yin origin, his cultivation level broke through directly. This mana? I've broken through. Not far away, Ling Zixiao and Meng Xiaochan both turned their heads towards Lu Chongqing at this moment. They hadn't expected Lu Chongqing to experience a breakthrough just then. However, it took the two of them only a moment to come to terms with it. After all, Nangong Mili was a nascent soul immortal. Lu Chongqing was currently engaged in yin-yang dual cultivation with a nascent soul immortal drawing from her vital yin essence. Such an essence was extremely rare, not inferior to any elixir, and aiding a cultivation breakthrough was within reason. Tisk! Ling Zixiao, witnessing the posture of Lu Chongqing and Nangong Mili together, felt her face blush and spat lightly in disapproval. Chapter 521. The Mysterious Yin Seductive Body. Imbalance of yin-yang energies. So what is there to mind? If he minded and couldn't let go, he would have just had Ling Zixiao set up a formation to isolate this area. At this moment, the primordial yin essence in Nangong Mili's body was still surging violently, causing his qi, blood, and mana to flow wildly throughout his body. This primordial yin origin is too powerful. My primordial yang is not sufficient to merge with it completely, only a portion can be nourished back. Lu Chongqing began to use the tender embrace technique. But in the face of such vast and powerful primordial yin essence, the tender embrace technique simply couldn't facilitate dual cultivation. Because dual cultivation requires both individuals to have similar cultivation levels, or for the stronger to assist the weaker. There has never been an instance where the weaker assists the stronger in dual cultivation. At this point, the true elixir primordial yin he was drawing from Nangong Mili was too immense. And it contained a yin origin essence, causing his primordial yang to be completely insufficient for the merging of yin and yang. It seems that this primordial yin essence can only be used to enhance my cultivation level, thought Lu Chongqing to himself. He channeled a part of the essence that had merged the yin and yang back into Nangong Mili's body. At the same time, he activated the 7 Luminaries' Great Freedom Sword scripture, refining the excess primordial yin essence. This vast primordial yin essence was superior to many elixirs and miraculous medicines. Just then, Lu Chongqing suddenly felt an imbalance of yin and yang in the yin-yang fish in his qi ocean core that was devouring the yin origin. His yin-yang 5 elements foundation base's yin-yang energies were already predominantly yin over yang. It was only maintained in balance by the spirit-nurturing energy of the golden core lady. But now, as the yin-yang fish absorbed the pure yin origin, the yin energy grew even more exuberant, causing an imbalance in yin and yang. An imbalance of yin and yang? Observing this, Lu Changsheng's brow furrowed slightly as he pondered what to do. He could now make the yin-yang fish stop refining the yin origin. But without absorbing it, the yin origin could only be used to enhance the cultivation level. However, when compared to strengthening the foundation, merely improving the cultivation level seemed much less significant. Moreover, using such a vast yin origin and primordial yin essence solely for enhancing the cultivation level would be extremely wasteful. Because the cultivation level enhanced through dual cultivation, if excessive, could lead to a shallow foundation, which would require a lot of time to consolidate. Could this yin origin, with its cold and yin properties, suppress the backlash of the dragon roar origin and the dragon roar physique? A thought struck Lu Chongqing, and an idea surfaced in his mind. His biggest problem in using the dragon invocation technique to draw out Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique's origin was the backlash against the spiritual body. Therefore, he had thought of using some kind of cold yin artifact or mana to suppress the backlash of the dragon roar physique to facilitate the extraction. Previously, he had planned to wait for Nangong Mili to awaken and have the nascent soul immortal suppress Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique so he could perform the extraction himself. Now, the yin origin from the nascent soul immortal spiritual body made him realize he could use it to suppress the dragon roar origin. If feasible, not only could he take the opportunity to resolve the dragon roar physique, but he could also extract the dragon roar origin to balance and enhance his own yin-yang energies. Without hesitation, he made up his mind and took action. Lu Chongqing turned to Ling Zixiao and called out, "Zixiao!" Ling Zixiao was admiring Nangong Mili's perfect jade body. Startled by Lu Changsheng's call, she paused. Xiao Chan's master should have some kind of yin spiritual body and harbor some yin origin that is beneficial to dual cultivation. This origin might be able to suppress the backlash from your dragon roar origin and spiritual body. Lu Chongqing quickly explained to Ling Zixiao. Yin origin? Suppress the dragon roar origin and the backlash of the spiritual body? Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao showed a look of surprise and delight. She was aware that the biggest issue Lu Chongqing faced in resolving her dragon roar physique was the backlash of the dragon roar physique itself. If the origin extraction proceeded, it would trigger the dragon roar physique's backlash, with yang energy scorching her body, putting her life at grave risk. If this yin origin could suppress the dragon roar origin and the backlash of the spiritual body, then Lu Chongqing could unreservedly extract and plunder the dragon roar origin to resolve the dragon roar physique. But the next moment, the joy on her face froze. She realized that to use Nangong Mili's yin origin to suppress her own dragon roar origin, it could only be done through dual cultivation in the marketplace. Doesn't it mean she now had to engage in dual cultivation with Lu Chongqing? Although she had been intimate with Lu Chongqing many times before, this method of dual cultivation, especially with Meng Xiaochan as a third wheel, made her feel somewhat hesitant. However, seeing Lu Changsheng's sincere gaze, remembering that at this time, he had acquired such rare spiritual body origin not to enhance his own cultivation level but to help resolve her dragon roar physique, and realizing that this was a rare opportunity to resolve her dragon roar physique, she clenched her teeth and immediately nodded in agreement. All right. This. Meng Xiaochan, standing to the side, heard their conversation and her delicate face froze in a daze, somewhat bemused. Wasn't her lover using a secret dual cultivation technique to heal her master? Why, before the healing was even finished, were they moving on to solving Ling Zixio's issue? The thought of Lu Chongqing using her master's spiritual body origin to solve Ling Zixio's condition made Meng Xiaochan feel uneasy inside. But she couldn't really say anything against Lu Changsheng's decision. She just pursed her lips and asked softly, Lu Lang, my master won't be in danger from this, right? Certain spiritual bodies, once their origin has been extracted, may face deterioration and danger. Xiaochan, don't worry, nothing will happen. Your master is likely not a natural enchantress but a kind of spiritual body with some origin that is beneficial to dual cultivation. That's why there was a problem with the dual cultivation technique just now. I could only stop and refine this origin essence. Lu Chongqing did not hide anything as he continued running the tender embrace technique, transferring some of the yin-yang essence to Nangong Mealy while explaining the reason to Meng Xiaochan. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.